All right, this is the Royal Sports Fan Podcast. We're back for another episode. It is Monday, April the 12th, 7:04 p.m., and we are blessed to be here talking to you guys again. You guys being able to see us again, and back with a very special guest, a guy that I've looked up to, a guy that I have had many conversations with through Messenger and things like that. And then we finally get to bring it to the screen and really talk and really celebrate, this guy right here. And I've got none other than Dondre, DonniOh Phoenix. Dio, what's up?
Everything good, fam. How you?
Man, good, man. Like you said, man, blessed to be here, man. Blessed to be here.
No doubt.
Yes, sir. And I really appreciate you, jumping on this platform. And you're a busy guy. You kind of, I say you kind of set the stage even for people like myself, man, because you were doing, media and entrepreneurship. I mean, when I was still a teenager, you know what I mean? So I remember stuff even like that. I remember being at Flaves, you know what I'm saying? I listen to 97.5. I check out on there. And then obviously, seeing you in the gym, even before, being able to look up what you did at Easton, but just knowing you were a great ball player, again, man, I just really am humbled, man. And just thank you for coming on tonight.
I appreciate it, man. I'm used to being on the other side of it. I'm not used to being
an
interviewee. I'm used to being an interviewer. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it's kind of good,
I know, man.
I like the platform you have, man. I told you this before, man. I love what you're doing because you carved out a niche where there's nobody else that reaches back and talk to some of the guys who played in the past, and not just from Easton, but you covered the entire, not just the Shore, because you had the brother, Urban Church.
Urban Church, Georgetown.
And I remember him in Georgetown, so you reached beyond the Shore, even though he has ties to the Shore, but it's what you're doing, man. So kudos to you, salute, for sure.
Man, I definitely appreciate it, man. That means a lot. And messages like that, and ones you sent me in the past, stuff like that keeps me going. So like you said, you know me on the other side, so hopefully I do a good enough job because I know you used to setting things up. So we'll see how things go, man. Yeah, no doubt. So
I'm just sit back and enjoy the ride, baby,
Appreciate it, man. Got a lot of stuff I want to dive into. First and foremost, Dwayne Wright, another young black male, killed by police, 20 years old. Say that, the police officer was supposed to be reaching for a taser, and somehow instead of a taser, it was a gun. Another sad situation. Prayers for his family. That happened also in Minnesota. But just your thoughts, DonniOh, on that.
It's funny we're talking about that. And I actually had that written down in my notes to bring that up, and you're right on that. So look, I had Wes actually notes in my phone, but yeah, man. I mean, again, like we talked before, we went live. Is that now reaching for a taser? I guess that's the new excuse they're gonna use now. You know what I'm saying? Like we're gonna fall for that. Like that's your go-to. That's what you got now. It's no longer. Right. I was afraid for my life, or just being black is a threat. So now I don't know the difference. I'm a trained cop, and I don't know the difference between my taser.
Trained.
Gun? Come on, man.
Come on now. Yeah, come on.
But again, nothing's gonna happen until there's a trial right now for the George Floyd case, and if there's no justice served, and that when we seen this man on George Floyd's neck, he's a murderer on his neck.
Murder, yep.
10 minutes. And if he's not if he's not convicted and do major time, not no little, 5-10 years.
Yeah, major. Right, yeah. Major time.
I mean, come on, man. Come on. When, it's been going on for over 400 years. We know we're a target. We know we're the hunted. And it's gonna be that way until these cops get held accountable for their actions. And until that changes, then nothing else is going to change. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, you said it right there. Until that changes and they're held accountable, they just keep doing what they're doing. Had the other incident in Virginia, a man that serves the country, pulled over for no reason, pepper spray, and it's, they did fire that cop, but it's just crazy, man. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I definitely wanted to just touch on the unfortunate circumstance. some of them, I know T-Wolves, they canceled their game tonight. Baseball, the Twins, NHL, so, doing the right thing on what they can. I mean, it's not that's going to feel any better tomorrow, but it's good that they did, stop that for tonight, so, yeah, unfortunate, but yeah. Your boys on here, DonniOh, Nick Fernell. What's up, Nick?
Nick, what's good, baby? Salute.
Yes, sir. No doubt. Also, over the weekend, DonniOh, we lost an icon. DMX passed away. I mean, you're one of those guys that, when it comes to hip hop, I lean in your direction when it comes to that. I've asked you things in the past about different hip hop stories and stuff like that. Just your thoughts on the unfortunate passing of DMX.
Man, first off, man, when I first think of DMX, I go back to '97, man, even before his first album. Well, 2 albums he dropped in '98.
Yeah.
That was unprecedented at the time. The dude was so hot, he dropped 2 albums in 1 year. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy, man.
Crazy. And but in '97, it was DJ Self. Well, actually, before that was DJ Clue. He had a couple of freestyles on DJ Clue. Of course, this is when the mixtape game was real heavy. Cats were kind of introduced, through mixtapes. So, DMX was on the DJ Clue joint. And then there was a mixtape. It was called Cannabis versus DMX. And nobody really knew too much of them. Cannabis was known for the freestyle, whatever. And DMX was too, because he had the battle with Jay and all that, you know what I'm saying? So he had a little wave going, and he had a couple of singles that didn't do too well before he signed with Def Jam. So, cats kind of knew him in the streets a little bit. But that mixtape, DMX versus Cannabis, that put DMX on the map and Cannabis on the map, which actually landed Cannabis a song on LL song 4321, and he went at LL. Cannabis went at LL.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He really didn't go at him, but L took it that way because he's talking about
right.
And honestly, Cannabis was really paying homage to L, but L took that as, yo, you being disrespectful by even asking about this tattoo with the mic on it. So, I'm gonna do it just to let you know this ain't the one. This ain't the time for that.
Yeah.
So L, he was a battle cat, so he was just looking to do that anyway. And then that's when Cannabis came out with the second round knockout joint with Mike Tyson when he went at L. So that was dope. But with all that, man, DMX, man, he got on a lot of cats. He got on joints with the of course with the Locks. They did joints together with writers and all that. But DMX, man, was different because he put his heart and soul into his music, so much so that you felt like you knew this cat. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Yeah.
Stuff that he talked about was stuff that either you could relate with or you know somebody else that could relate with. Especially dealing with, his addiction, his drug addiction, and fighting his demons. He had the very powerful prayers within his song. He always talked about God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. And so it was like he was fighting the demons of his life, fighting and helping others fight their demons through his music. Because I know a lot of people.
That's real.
X, you got me through a lot of situations through your music. So he was like a minister through his music. And within that, he's helping others, but he's still battling himself. Everybody looking at X, you multi-platinum and you this and Grammy nominated and you this, all this fame or whatever, but he's still missing something. His spirit is still missing something. He's fighting those demons and fighting that addiction. He grew up, and I know he spent time in Baltimore. I know that if you read some publications, it says he was born in Baltimore. So I don't know which is which, Some say he was born in Mount Vernon. Some say he was born in Baltimore. I know that he lived in Baltimore because that's where the dog thing came at. You gotta understand. Back then, the dogs, that was a big, even here in Easton on the Hill, Marley, shout to Marley.
Oh, yeah.
Eric Lewis, Stevie, all them cats on the hill.
Yeah.
All them cats had dogs. We used to have dog fights on the hill all the time. You know what I'm saying? So that whole dog, and of course, you're from Baltimore, you say Doug. It ain't dog, it's Doug.
Yeah.
And then in one of his songs, he's like, I'm on that Baltimore shit, hey-oh, and that was how we used to greet each other, on the hill. We used to woo woo or hey-oh, so that was like a Baltimore thing that kind of came in here too. So He had that Baltimore connection. Matter of fact, the video we right here, he shot that in Baltimore. You know what I mean?
Oh wow.
Yeah. Also with the motorbike, with the 3-wheelers and all that, the 4-wheelers.
Oh yeah. That's all Baltimore. Yeah.
Baltimore thing. Yeah, he took that to YO, Yonkers and all. That's a Baltimore thing. You know what I mean? So he kept that Baltimore connection in everything he did. And man, hip hop is gonna miss this dude, man, because I know he's working on a new album, and just the way he went out battling that demon, man, and he just couldn't overcome it, man. And he's gonna be sorely missed, man. He's gonna be sorely missed, that's for sure.
Yeah, he definitely gonna be sorely missed. I like what you said. You know, he helped. You know, even though he was battling demons, which demons are real. You know, he was able to help people while he was going through it. You know, and so I always tell that to people. You know, no matter what you're going through, you can still be a help to somebody, because we're all going through something. You know, some more than others, but we're all going through something. But continue to help each other out while you're going through it. And one thing that sticks out to me, I don't know if I'm pretty sure you've seen the verses with him and Snoop. And I think I'm so thankful that Swiss and Timberland have that platform, because for a lot of us, that was our last time being able to see him perform. Just the energy that him and Snoop had, you know, during that, you know, verses, man, it was great to see.
It was, and then to see them appreciating one another, because I don't look at the verses as a battle. I look at
no, it's love. It's love.
Love and appreciation for the music, you know.
Yeah.
You know, for Snoop, you know, reciting, you know, Dog's lyrics and those verses, Dog recite. You would think, like, because again, with Snoop being on the West Coast, DMX, so you figured, they ain't in, you know, but yo, they showing much love and they knowing each other's music. They in the same crew, you know what I mean? So that's dope. That was really dope.
Yeah, that was definitely dope. That was definitely dope, man. So yeah, definitely, you know, rest in peace, DMX. Prayers for his family. Also, while I'm remembering, prayers to Sorrell family, big bro Andre Sorrell, as well, passing of his son, killing of his son. So just keep these people lifted up, you know, lifted up in prayer, because they gonna need it. You know, gonna need it.
Wait, who's son?
Andre Sorrell. Yeah, last week. Yeah, in Cambridge. Yeah, man. So yeah, a lot going on. So definitely gotta keep these people lifted up, man. Yeah, a lot going on. Yeah. But changing subjects and getting to some sports. Obviously, if people don't know, big Laker fan. And it's funny, you know, I always laugh because, you know, we've been following each other for a while on Facebook. Big Laker fan. Obviously, LeBron, not your favorite person, but then obviously coming to LA, you know, having to, you're one of those team guys. You know, you're not one of those guys that follow players. You're one of those team guys. So obviously, and being on Lakers, you still want to support the Lakers. Just give me your thoughts on the season. Give me your thoughts on your chances with the injuries and what's going on. Big win against Brooklyn the other night. Drummond played good. Schroeder before he got ejected. THT, Ben Mclemore. Let's talk about a little bit.
Man. Well, let's address that Sunday.
Yeah. Please do. Yeah.
You know, I really find funny that when the Nets acquired Aldridge and
go ahead.
Blake, but before they acquired him, you know, everybody like they washed. You know, Blake hadn't dunked all year, and you know, Aldridge was done. But as soon as they go to the Knicks, everybody's like, "Oh man, they stacking up. I'm like, wait a minute, y'all said that they were done. Now they with the Nets, with the Knicks Nets. So,
now they said,
right? So they get there and they show flashes. So then it went from their wash to the stacking up to see. I knew it. You know, even commentators were saying that Aldridge was holding out with the Spurs until he went to a contender and then show his game. Okay, cool. So we get to Sunday and Saturday rather. When did they play? Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. Yep, Saturday night.
Saturday. And so yes, we get to Saturday, and you know, of course, no Bron, no AD, no Kuzma.
Yeah.
We got 6 people out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're looking like you know, and they got KD, even though he's on a minutes restriction. Looked great that first game. You know. You know, my man, Kyrie, that's my favorite player in the league, by the way. I love Kyrie.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Yeah, he reminds me of myself when I was playing. He reminds me of me. That's the one player. But
I can see that.
yeah. But I like to see him do well. I just don't like to hear him talk too much. You know what I mean? Because you never know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Flat. But that's my man, though. Regardless of that, it's still my man.
Right.
So the stage is set. It shouldn't even be a close game. Shouldn't even be close. So that's they looking like the Lakers came right out on them, jumped right out on them, and then of course they go back and forth and Lakers make a little run, Nets make a run, and then they got in a little altercation. They had the altercation. Now that's a whole topic right there in itself, right there.
That's another topic. You're right. Oh man, we could get into that. Yeah.
Yeah. But the thing is that now the Lakers ended up winning by 25. Now we know if Kyrie was there, they wouldn't have won by 25. But regardless of
right.
we would look at the Nets, what they have. Blake's supposed to be, showing flashes, and Aldridge's supposed to be, he's arrived, he's our guy, And even when the Lakers got Drummond, it was like, well, he's not the
That's
guy.
what they said. Yep.
Not like Kareem, was not like Shaq, and no, he's not. He never said the
right.
He was just the fill-in. So, but even with that, they're saying, well, he's not much of an upgrade from Dwight or McGee. That's not much of a difference, So he go out and get 20 and 11. He's been looking good the last couple games, and so now it's like, well, the Lakers won, but
exactly.
Excuse. It really doesn't count because there and KD minutes restriction and Kyrie got ejected, and well, wait a minute, we don't have LeBron, AD, or Kuzma, and we win by 25. So it shows me at the end of the day, it shows me it's two things. Well, one, that the Lakers role players are a lot better than we give them credit for.
I agree.
That the Nets defense is what we thought it was because they were
facts.
We're turning the corner, right? That defense is picking up and this, that, and the other. You give up 125 points to basically the Lakers' second unit, basically. You know what I'm saying? And third unit. You know what I mean? Ben McLemore was a great pickup. That was a great pickup for the Lakers. Great. I like another guy that stretched the floor. But I still, if they were to play and they were both healthy in a 7-game series, I still would give the edge slightly to the Knicks in 6-7 games. Just because those three guys.
So you still gonna give it to the Nets, even with the Lakers experience playing together and winning last year, still because of that talent the Nets form?
Yeah, I think that James Harden, he's the heartbeat of that team, and he's the heartbeat because he was willing to sacrifice
he is.
for the betterment of that situation, and he's still getting his, even with that. He controls the pace of the game. I don't think, and he can get a bucket whenever needed from all three levels. I think with the Lakers, the thing that's really going to hurt the Lakers is Drummond is a great addition, but I think it's going to be hack of Drummond. I don't think you're going to see him at the end of games.
I agree.
Like non-existent. When we get into the nip and tuck of the playoffs, and if the games, he's not going to be in the lineup because they're just going to have 46% free throw shooter. He's just not going to be on the floor.
Right.
I think again, KD and Kawhi, for some reason, they give LeBron a lot of trouble. And I think because they don't back down from him. And then he's the guy, and those are two guys they're gonna make LeBron work on the other end as well. There's not too many guys that LeBron guards that are just as good, if not better than him offensively. You know what I'm saying? Those are only two guys that are. And then they make him work on defense too. Like they get up in him. LeBron gonna get to the basket and he can get his shots, but a lot of times what they force LeBron doing, especially because LeBron does so much, he has to do so much, they force him into shooting those outside shots. They make him settle, because he's working so hard on the other end, and he has to do so much for the team. Where then you got, for the Lakers, you got outside LeBron, you got AD, who it's some timing. But with the Nets, you got three guys. Three guys.
Yeah.
Three guys that's going to give you points. And at the end of the
score.
day, you know, and I think, and they can get that shot on all three levels, and they're all great free throw shooters. That's the difference. I think is going. And even LeBron is suspect that he don't even want to go to the line.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got three guys who are 85% better from the line, can score at all three levels. Not gonna just settle for the outside shot. Not just gonna try to bully their way to the basket. They can post. They can do whatever. So I think that, but again, they all have to be there, and Kyrie has to show up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just
can't take a personal day. Yeah.
Nah,
it's gonna be interesting.
I mean, he has his Ramadan. He did it for Ramadan. I respect that. You know, I studied
me too.
I studied Islam and whatnot. You know, I was 5% for almost. You know what I'm saying? So I understand it. I can dig it. But because it's Kyrie, you know, it gets a little more blown out of course. And then, of course, off the hills what happened Saturday, and you know, it's a little more issue than it would have been if it was any other person. You know what I mean?
That's a good point. And as much as we, you know, talk about Kyrie and stuff like that, he does do a lot. He paid for a lot of WNBA player salaries. He bought George Floyd, the mother of his child, a house. You know, all those are things that, you know, you wouldn't know, you know, the everyday people. So I do give Kyrie a lot of respect, you know, when it comes to that. As far as the matchup, and I respect you and D Skinner, who's also a big Laker fan, have both told me the Nets. I'm still right now going to go Lakers if they're fully healthy in 7, only because of the experience. And I still think that the Nets big three have to play a little bit more together. I know everybody was kind of saying with the Clippers last year, even though they only had 2 guys and not 3 guys. So I respect that. The talent, we never seen 3 guys get together like this. I mean, that can score like this. As a Heat fan, I'm mad at, listen, DonniOh, I'm mad that we didn't give up Tyler Hero for James Harden. Man, we should. I would have drove to the airport myself, man.
That would have took y'all over the top, man. That would have done it.
Yeah, man. So you know, like you said, man, you gotta give James Harden a lot of credit. A lot of people didn't think he would sacrifice, but he's done it. Yeah, a lot of people did. Yeah, a lot of people did, man. Yep. So I give him a lot of respect for that. So we'll see. We definitely want to talk more about that. I want to get into
who's your MVP real quick. Who's your MVP?
Well, see, you know the thing with that is all these injuries has kind of messed that up. I mean, the MVP right now has got to be Jokic because he's played the most games. But before Harden got hurt, I said Harden. Before LeBron got hurt, I said LeBron. For Embiid, I said Embiid. So now I think by default it's Jokic. But what about you?
I feel you. I feel you on that. I didn't think about it that way, but I feel you on that. I'm gonna say Harden because of the impact that he made with that team. They were above 500, but they were struggling before he got there. Even when it was KD,
they were,
and Kyrie, you know. But as soon as Harden got there, man, he righted that ship. And even when they were out, he still had them afloat. You know, when that West Coast trip, that sold it for me. That did it for me. You know, he went out there and whipped everybody. You know what I'm saying? And
he did. He did.
Very efficient. He, like I said, he changed his game up, but he's still getting his numbers, man. And he's making everybody better. That's what you want as a lead player, as a franchise player, is to make everyone around you better. And he does that. Man. So I was, like I said, I'm with you. Like I had LeBron until he went down.
You think that rest going to help him though?
Even before he went down, I was starting to shift away from LeBron because he struggled without AD, and I thought with that team you still shouldn't struggle as much. You know what I mean?
I got you.
So that kind of took away a little bit, and you know, like you said, Embiid, he was right in the mix, but I just got a little bit harder, and just what he's done with that team. What would you say? Would you just say before?
What about the rest that LeBron got? You think that'll help him going down the stretch? Was that a blessing in disguise? That rest that he's getting right now?
Yeah. I mean, but honestly, man, at this point, man, you know, it doesn't even matter with LeBron, rest or no rest, he's gonna be there. He gonna do it.
He gonna be there. Right. It's all about AD.
What is 36? What is he, 36? Yeah.
Yeah, what is he, 36? Yeah, yep.
And we keep waiting for him to fall off a little bit, but we gotta realize the man spends $1 million a year on his body. $1 million a year on his body just to be where he needs to be. You know, he's not out and about. He never was like the wild and out cat out in the club wilding. You know, he was never that dude. So it was always about business for him. You know, when he stepped on the court to keep his body right, and it's paying dividends now. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, it is.
You know, he's gonna stretch it out to 40 plus. You know, if he wants to.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. That's real, man. Appreciate you. Real Sports Fan Podcast. We're here with Dondre, DonniOh Phoenix. Appreciate everybody tuning in. We're going to get into his great career and life right now. Again, appreciate everybody jumping on here. Man, I tell you, man, talk about DonniOh just growing up in Easton, you know, in the 70s and 80s. And you know, how did you start playing ball? Was it another sport? You know, just talk a little bit about, you know, starting off childhood in Easton.
Man, growing up on the hill, man, it was like we did it all, man. We played baseball. It was a spot called Green Hills behind this building. We called it Green Hills. We used to write the scores. It always would be the Orioles and the Yankees. That's what we right? And we would write the score. We would have the innings. You know, we play 6 innings like Little League, you know, and somebody keeping the score and everything, man. And the whole neighborhood would be out there, you know, and we played baseball out there. We played with a one of those like it wasn't
like
even
waffle ball. Huh?
Nah, we played with a tennis ball, right?
Oh yeah, we did too. We did too, early 90s.
We back, but we had that joint wrapped up with tape so you can get a good grip on the joint because it was wooden bat. And yeah, so that's what we did, man. And then we played football behind on Higgins Street behind the houses. It was a big fit. Well, actually, it was several. It was everybody's backyard. It was probably about 20 apartments, you know, duplex joints. But that part was like grassy, you know. And they even had like the people hung their clothes out there and the clotheslines.
Oh yeah, on the clothesline.
Right through the clotheslines and everything, knocking people's clothes down the one side of there all the time, man. So, you know, we did that, man. And we played 2-hand touch out in the streets, man. Then we would take the crates and the milk crates and put them up on the hook on the telephone and cut the bottom out. Andre Gibson would cut the bottom out and put them up there. So we playing out there. Then we over at the Spectrum. That was the spot. Anybody at Bone will tell you about the Spectrum, man. If you had anybody couldn't go to the Spectrum. It was an abandoned like warehouse building on the opposite side of the tracks where Graham Street was Kelly Gibson Street. But on the side, it was a building there. Pigeons used to be in there and everything. And so they put 2 courts in there. So we had a full court in that joint, and the roof covered it and everything. So we
That's crazy.
Yeah. So we didn't have to go to the Y nowhere. Like that was our court right there in the hood, you know. And that's where everybody their marks at, man. And it was tight in there. So you didn't have a lot of wiggle room. So that's where we got the physicality and bumping and grinding. It wasn't no foul. It won't call no foul. It ain't no blood, no foul.
No.
Don't even think about it. You gotta play through it, you know. And I always played with the older guys. But even before that, Bruce Freeman, rest in peace, Bruce, man, that was my guy.
Yeah. Bruce was dope. Yep.
Yeah, I lived with my grandparents on Glenwood Avenue. And then when I was 3, that's when we moved on the hill when I was 3. But before that, I lived on Glenwood Avenue down the bottom, and I lived across the street. My grandparents, they lived across the street from Bruce Freeman's house, and he always had a basketball court up there. So, you know, I would go out there and shoot, and he would let me come shoot, and that's where I kind of started learning how to shoot on a real court. I mean, it was regulation size, so I really learned there. But even before that, KC, I don't know if you heard of Kenneth Copper. I think he still holds the record for most points in a game. I think at Easton 56. I think that's the record still. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Mike Butler can tell you this. He scored 56 points with no 3-point line, and he helped me develop my shot. See, when my mom divorced my pops, he and my mom dated for several years until, my mom's met my step pops, and he got married. But in between that, she dated KC, Kenneth Copper, and he taught me how to hold the ball and use the grooves. He told me what the grooves were for, to get a grip and spread your fingers all the way out, and follow through, and use the other hand as a guide, and he would say, put the ball in front of your right eye, and then shoot it that, and all the techniques I'm learning this in my early,
yeah.
And then the irony of it is that then once I started going to basketball camp, these are the same things they would teach me at basketball camp. I'm like, well, I already knew that. I'm like, I called him my step pops, but he really wasn't. But I called him my step pops. I said, yeah, my step pops taught me this years ago, So I was already knew the shooting part. But that's where I got it, man. Grew up on the hill. Again, having KC right there, and in my life directly, he was a great player with himself, and then having Bruce right there too, as I got a little older. To help tutor. And then the third person was Ronald Blake. Ronald Blake, probably my favorite player from Easton High School. Man, way ahead of his time. I don't know. I think he might have played with your pops. He might be.
I think they played a year. I think they played a year together. My dad's only heard. I think they played a year together. I want to say, or he might have just missed them. I want to say, yeah.
Okay.
I think Pops was. I think Pops. I think Dad was 82. I think. Okay. Yeah, 82. Yeah.
I think Ronald graduated in 80 or 81, one or two. So yeah, they right tail end of each other, whatever. But yeah, Big Bird, another one, man. Man, I'm just saying, like, watching those guys, like, they meant so much to me growing up. Like, I mentioned Ronald, Cornell Jenkins, Lenny Brooks, man, Glenn Pender, like I said, Big Bird, Dan Williams, Ty Newman, Harry Wolford. Now here I go naming names. I ain't want to do that.
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Aaron,
paying homage though.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm gonna tell you another cat, man. Jay Henson, who was one of the dopest players, man. He transferred and went to Queen Anne, left-handed, nice. Okay. But I loved his game. But when he transferred to Queen Anne, it hurt my heart because he was one of my favorites, man. Curtis Turner.
Yeah, I have heard Curtis Turner. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Bruce, Bruce a little later on. I just missed him as I got into high school. He had just graduated. But all those guys, man,
Bruce,
man, and just seeing them growing up, and Nugget, Anthony Watkins, Nugget, was, man, talking about handling that rock, man. Easton, man, I was just blessed and fortunate. I think, like I said, about 79, 80, when I started remembering going to the games and remembering the players and stuff, but for me, like, because he played point guard, Ronald was the guy that I really looked up to. And listen, when I finally beat him one-on-one at Ottawa Park, I took the ball and ran with it, right? And when I finally beat him, I was like, yo, I'm here now. Like, there ain't nothing stop me. Ain't nobody stop me now, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, Ronald Ronald was a wizard with that ball, man. Anybody's know Ronald, man. Ronald.
I've heard.
Yeah.
I've heard. And my dad, and you're right. My dad said they did play together. Dad graduated 81. I was a year off, 81. So he said they did play together. Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Man, he taught me so much, just the little nuances about grabbing the shirt and, when the referee looking and, putting your arm, see, back then we could hand check and whatnot. So you can be a little more physical. Using your body and maneuvering, going to the basket and putting your body in between the man and laying it up, this little nuance of the game that he taught me, and I used it, and I eventually used it against him and beat him. But, those, and then going back to KC too, because I want to say he graduated in 72, maybe 71, 72, around that time. But even before him, you had Walt Hazard, who, Walt Hazard, he went to Bolton before moving to Philly, and I think he went to Sonic, I believe, once he got to Philly. But of course, he ended up going to the NBA, playing with the Lakers.
Sure did.
He went to UCLA.
UCLA.
And then coached at UCLA. So he's from the Hill, you know. So that pedigree is there. Richard Milbourne is another Easton too from Moulton. He eventually got a tryout with the Philadelphia 76.
Oh wow.
And that was KC's cousin.
Okay.
It's the pedigree on the shore, and particularly Easton, man, it's always been there, man. Always been there.
Yeah. That's a great point. You know, when you talk about the people that's come before you, you know, because I think with a lot of us, I mean, I'm even looking at some of the comments, you know, there's always guys before us that we've seen that we like, wow, they did it. You know, I can try to do it, you know, and also not only did you see them, but you could go and talk to them and ask them stuff, and they would help you with your game. You know, I had a lot of people, you know, Shelton, Marty, Joel, you know, your brother always tried to get me to run full. When I wanted to run 4-on-4, he kept trying to say, you know, why y'all run full, 5-on-5? You know what I mean? So it's always people before us, you know what I mean, that came along and that we could look up to. Bruce Freeman, you know, great player. That's all I used to hear about, you know, Bruce Freeman. A lot of the other guys you named from me doing research, you know, coming across, you know, guys like that. I've got Bruce Blake coming on in a couple of weeks, 2 weeks from now. Okay. So So I appreciate you saying that. Let me. So with all that knowledge and all that skill that you got at an early age, what was the first camp you remember going to? What was the first camp you remember going to?
Man, listen. Well, but let me touch on this real quick too before I get into that.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
We used to play. We played at Parks and Recreation. They had a league at the middle school, and man, look, we used to get buckets, and I'm saying we used to get buckets at an early age, man. I'm gonna tell you who was nice. Ronald Guy was nice. Look, I got look. Here's something.
Oh, okay.
Man.
Yeah.
Look at that. Dondre Phoenix led the Bulls. I played on the Bulls.
That's dope. Yeah.
15 points. But look, and going through this joint, Ronald Guy had 23 points. Ronald Guy had 25. Ronald Guy had 48 points one game. 48 points.
God. Wait till I see him.
Dude was super quick. That's Michael Guy. A lot of people might not know Ronald, but Michael.
Right.
But Ronald was that dude, man. I'm gonna tell you, when we was in school, we'll go a little bit later, but there's a lot of guys that was in school that didn't play. You know, either they didn't like Coach Hayward or they just felt intimidated. But it was a lot of guys that didn't play when I was in school that should have been playing ball. I'm sure every class would say that, but we had some solid class, man. Like, yo, come on. Oh man, whatever it may be. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's always like 2 or 3 of those guys that didn't play. I agree. We could have been even deeper.
Ronald was that guy, man. And so we had that league, and we also used to play right before when we were in middle school, right before school started. They would let us. Coach Smith would let us. I mean, not Coach Smith. Mr. Smith, the gym teacher. He would let us run forward, like everybody before the homeroom started. And man, we'd be in that joint going forward. Girls in there watching, so we try and show off for them. You know?
Yeah.
And then Mr. Hayward would come over there, and he would use that to scout, you know, some of the players before they got high school. Yeah. So I remember Big Wes Cornish and David Carroll. He moved away. He moved to South Carolina, but they used to battle. And I'm talking, David probably about 6'4". Yeah. And he was tough, and he would battle. At that time, Wes probably 6'6", maybe, you know, in the 8th grade, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, Wes battling with him, and then, you know, we seeing all the guards, seeing everybody play. So that's what we developed too. And then we had Red Shield. I don't know, did they have Red Shield when you were coming up at the Y? Red Shield basketball?
Nope.
Yeah, see, that was a big deal because we would go down to Salisbury and we would play those teams down there. And that was big at the Salvation Army, huge every year.
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, the way they did it then, it probably was similar because we used to play each other, and then they picked a travel team, and we would go to Salvation Army in Salisbury and play. So yeah.
Okay, got you. Okay, yeah, we just had one team. Well, again, we had the league. We had the Parks and Recreation team. Those were well, probably like 10 teams or whatever. And then you had the Red Shield team, which was something totally different from that. And
Got you.
and we go down there, man, and ball, man, and it's, ironically, of course, I'm sure you probably saw it too, but you end up playing a lot of the guys that you played in that league. You end up playing them in high school,
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, yeah, but that was incredible. That was great too, man. So yeah, and also growing up too, I played basketball, obviously, baseball and football, and I boxed a little bit too. So I used to go, yeah, I used to go to Wilmington in the summers, and that's another thing that I developed too, going up to Wilmington in the summers, and that's where I started to get the toughness from, and to hone my skills a little bit, and I come back down here and it'd be like a little different, because I was playing big and tough in Wilmington. So much so that going into the 10th grade, one of the coaches at in Wilmington at William Penn, he recruited me. He was trying to come there, but I said, I said, nah, I appreciate it, but nah, I got some business to handle down there with my boys,
Yeah.
Gibbo, we all grew up together, so we played in all the leagues together. So we always said once we got to high school, we was gonna bring it home, and but yeah, so that's where everything developed. That as far as organized basketball, with Parks and Recreation and Red Shield, and then basketball camp. My first basketball camp was University of Maryland, College Park, and my first I went there for 3 years, and I won the camp MVP 3 straight years for my age group. Yeah. So and I don't know, for me going there, it was again because I was playing older guys already. Again, I'm going to Wilmington in the summers and I'm playing up there and playing different guys. So I'm used to playing different competition. I know a lot of guys at an early age, they don't play. And this is before AAU and any of that. This wasn't even around.
Right. Yeah.
So you only play who's in your neighborhood, or what I mean. So I was already used to playing different competition, playing guys taller, faster, stronger, whatever. It didn't matter to me. But I developed, there, and I would take everything that they taught us there and bring it home. Going to a camp is one thing, but if you don't continue
work on
with your talk there, it doesn't matter. It's like you didn't even go. And they would give us a sheet. I never forget. My last year there was in 80. Let me see. Len Bias died in 86, June 19th or June 17th, I think, 86. That was my
86.
Yeah, that was my last year going to that camp. And he will always be a camp speaker. For the 3 years I was there, he was always like the camp speaker. The 3 times that I went. And my last year, we played, and he was a coach too. He coached one of the teams. But Tom Speedy Jones was my coach. So Speedy Jones was like, he was about the gym. And we played Len Bias's team, and we beat them for the championship. And I MVP and all that. And I remember Len Bias, saying to Speedy, he's like, yo, y'all got a squad. But that dude right there.
That's dope.
You know what I'm saying? And in my we would always get like an evaluation at the end of the camp. And Speedy Jones said, in my evaluation, he was like, you continue to work on your game, you continue to do what you're doing and grow in what you're doing. Quit. And at that time too, I was only like 5'3". When I was in 9th grade, I was 5'3".
Really?
Yeah, I was short, man. Yeah, I was short. And he said, continue to work on what your skills and everything, and you'll be able to pick and choose what school you want to go to. So that always goes back in the head, And yeah, that camp was incredible, man. But it wasn't until I went to 5-star, it was my junior year going into my senior year. That's when I got on the map. And going back, but I know you mentioned too about Mr. Sampson. Am I getting ahead of myself?
No, you good. You talk about Coach Sampson. Go ahead. Yeah. No, you good. Because I feel like he helped with that development. And I might be wrong, but I was just reading some quotes he had about how proud he was especially of you, Dwayne and Gibbo, about y'all making it, to the Final Four. So yeah, just touch on Coach Sampson a little bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to keep it chronologically. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah. I feel you. Yeah, me too.
obviously he was the JV coach. So, JV, my first year, I'm gonna tell you the honest truth, man. When we went for trial, I didn't know it was gonna, and you probably can attest to it. I didn't know it was gonna be so much running, So I'm like,
Damn.
like I was didn't make the team, yo. I'm like, yo, this I we gotta touch the ball, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I never forget me and Andre Gibson. We went in the locker room, they had the names posted on the locker, who made it, whatever. We went through there. Andre went in there, and he was like, yo, I don't see your name on here, right? So I'm like, stop playing. And I was kind of like, shoot, I ain't mad if it's not, I'm like, we're gonna be doing all the running. And I went on there, and then he said, I got you, whatever. So my name was on there. And so, we made the squad, and I was a little, even though I, again, playing in Wilmington and different places, that was my first year of going to camp that summer. Yeah, it was my first year of going to University of Maryland camp. My first year or second year? No, my second year going into that year. Yeah. So I was still a little intimidated because some of those guys, Ronald was on there. Ronald guy was putting up 48 when we in youth league, but then I don't know. I think that Mr. Sampson kind of put that confidence in me, because I was real hesitant. I was a pass first, always pass first. And Mr. Sampson said, son, you got a nice shot. You need to shoot more, because I would get in the paint and always look to kick it out or, trying to find the open guy, always. He would get on me. He said, if you go in this paint again and don't shoot the ball, I'm taking you out the game. And we shoot a little bit more, but I still was selfish. And so ninth grade, to like the second half of ninth grade, because I didn't start initially. And probably like after the Christmas break, he put me in the starting lineup. And after that, it was a wrap. And then that summer, I went to camp again that summer. And I never forget, I came back from camp and my pops said, Pee Wee, once you come around the house, him and my pops were cool. That's what they called Samson Pee Wee. That was his nickname. I said, oh, okay. He said, I don't know you don't what you want to talk about, but he say bring Dondre around the house and want to talk to him. All right. So my pops took me around there. We went around there. He lived on the hill. And went over there and he said, son, he said, I want you to know you got a decision to make. He said, ultimately it's your decision, but I have some thoughts on it. He said, but Mr. Hayward wants you to move up to varsity. He wants you on varsity. And I would rather you stay on JV for another year. He said, not for selfish reasons. He said, obviously, we got a really good team and everything. He said, but I don't want you to sit, just go to varsity, just to be on varsity and sit. It was a lot of guards at the time, and I felt the same way. I'm like, I don't want to be on there and just be sitting. I want to play, So it was me. I'm like, well, I'm not going, So then before the season started, Mr. Hayward talked to me, tried to talk me into it, and I'm just like, nah, I'm gonna stay on JV because see, Gibbo and Bones still on JV.
Yeah.
I just it was a trio, and I just wouldn't feel right without them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Even though Wills got moved up in the ninth grade, at the end of ninth grade, he got moved up. So he was already on there. I'm like, nah, So I eventually got moved up later in the year, but because honestly, for real, when we had them JV varsity scrimmages, we was giving it.
Y'all took it to him. I knew you were going to say that. Hold on, DO. I don't think we can hear you. I think you got muted. DO, I think you got muted.
Something that he said to me in conversation too, which I wasn't even thinking about at the time, but he went to UMES, and UMES wasn't even on my radar at the time anyway. Nothing was on my radar at that time, but he was just looking down the line and was like, think about college, man. He was just talking and doing a conversation. He's like, college is gonna be the best, greatest times of your life, you know. So when it's time to make that decision, make sure it's the right decision, not just the basketball decision, all that. So that always stuck in the back of my head when it was time to make that choice a couple years later. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he was a big part of, you know, me and my development, and Gibbo and Bone as well. Yeah.
That's dope. That's dope. And it's funny because Bones, and for people who know we talking about Dwayne Cephas. He said the same thing you said when I talked to him and have dinner and stuff with him about the people that came before y'all. Because one of the things he said was he always remember the Easton Letterman jackets. And he talked about my dad and guys like that. He said, I wonder what those jackets. He said, what? So it was funny listening to you talk about the guys in front of you that you looked up to, because he said the same thing. Yeah, you know, so he said the same thing. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So
check this out. Me and my brother, this is what we used to do. After the Eastern games, we would come back from the games, and we would have the hangers, and we would open the hangers up and put them in on the door, open them up like a hoop, and take some socks and shoot on the hangers, you know. So
yeah.
So after Eastern games, man, we would come back from the games and we would do a layup line. You know, he would go in, make a layup, catch it, give it to me. I come through like I'm dribbling, and we would do that. And I would say, I'm Bruce Freeman. You know what I'm saying? And he would always say, I'm Robbie Miller. A lot of people know him as Skeet. He said, I'm Skeet, you know, I'm Robbie. You know what I'm saying? And that's just how much we looked up to those guys before us, man. They were like our heroes, man. They were like our heroes, man.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Likewise. That's dope. So let's jump to varsity. You know, going into now. If I'm not mistaken, I know you told the story about not wanting to move up 10th grade, but if I'm not mistaken, the end of your 10th grade year, you did move up 2 games?
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Got you. So going to that next year, into your junior year, the 87, 88 team. I know Shelton on here waiting because he's been waiting to talk about this. You know, y'all talk about this 88 versus 98. But before we get to that, Hulk, I just want to kind of set the stage, you know, for how good you guys was, you know, DonniOh, seriously. And again, you know, I came across something and I hit you like, man, y'all did this or y'all did that. You know, it's stuff y'all have done that I wish I knew as a kid, you know, because it just would have drove me even more. So you're going, this is your junior year, right? So you're going on the team. You've got Bones, you've got Gibbo, you've got Wayne Wilson, who, like you said, he went on varsity end of his freshman year. As a sophomore. Wayne made second team all Bayside as a sophomore. Yep. So now this is his junior year along with you. Wes Cornish is coming off player of the year, averaging 27 and 11 as a player of the year. Yep. So knowing how good you guys was, and Mac Haver said it, that, you know, he had the bigs, but with you 3 guards, you know, running that 3-guard offense, even though they considered you a forward, it was a 3-guard offense. Right. Just talk to me about the mentality about what you went into that season, you know, knowing y'all could do.
Well, I got to tell you, most people thought, because Easton lost a lot of seniors that going into our junior year, you know, my junior year, Bones senior year, and Gibbo's sophomore year. And, you know, so it was kind of a mystery for the Bayside. We already knew what we were going to do. We already knew.
Right.
Because first of all, me, Gibbo, Bone, and Wills, we all played together all the time. Wow. You know, since kids, we all grew up on the hill, and we always played together.
Yeah.
We already had like crazy chemistry, and all of us were unselfish, you know, to a fault. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Only one that really didn't play was Wes, but Wes, he was easy to play with, though. He made it easy for us because he was unselfish too. He wasn't like the big black hole you pass it into and you're never gonna touch it again. Like, he was a good passer for the big man. And the thing about Wes, he was kind of forced into playing the game. He only played because of his size, but then he started to develop, and really became a really good player. And so all of that kind of meshed, but I'm gonna tell you, they used to have a summer league in Salisbury at the Civic Center, right? And we played that summer league leading into my junior year. And everybody talked about Cambridge, of course, Snow Hill with Sharon, North Carolina with Chambers. Listen, at that time, the Bayside was thick from top to bottom. Even St. Michael's, Washington, and Ricky Hopkins, and they had a solid. You weren't just gonna go down there and beat St. Michael's like we do now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody was wild high. They had Tommy Williams. Tommy Williams, one of the nicest with the ball, man.
Yeah.
You had Jam Bennett. They had Sidney Johnson. He's 16. And you had Corey Morton, 6'5", and then you had what's the other cat? They had Troy Milborn. They were deep, Then you had Pocomo. Everybody was thick at that time, man. So granted. So, but we knew going into that summer league, we was like, yeah, we're gonna turn some heads here, and we won that summer league. That's when we put the whole Bayside on notice because they knew about West, but there's like, I don't know about the other guys. Well, we showed them real fast, So once we got into the season, and I think we averaged like 100 and some points a game our first 3 games of the season, and we were beaten we beat Bennett by like, I don't know, darn near 40, which.
Well, look, DonniOh, I was getting ready to say, not to cut you off. I can tell you, you're right. Y'all averaged 100 points the first 4 games. I don't know if you remember your first game. Y'all play a lot of South teams early on, both years. You play a lot of South teams early. Y'all did. I noticed that. The first game, your junior year, y'all played Waha. Y'all beat Waha 81-59. Wayne had 4 threes in the first quarter. They said those high-arcing threes that he shot. 4 threes in the first quarter. You, Bones, and Deion Blackwell combined for 39. And West didn't even really do too much because West was in foul trouble early on. So I just want to throw that in there.
Hey, just real quick, you just reminded me too. I wanted to bring this up when you talk about Wayne with the 3-pointer. We didn't have the 3-point line until 10th grade. So
that was the first year. Yeah, right?
Yeah, so for up until then, we didn't have the 3-point line. So
the
3-point line, we already knew because we could shoot from range anyway.
All
so
y'all.
Yeah, we're gonna take advantage of this, and we did.
No. Yeah, that's what I said. But yeah, just go ahead and you can continue to talk about the score. I just wanted to set the table a little bit for kind of how y'all started off, because y'all averaged, like I said, 100 points, starting off that year. But yeah, you can continue as far as that year, how that year, started off or went.
Yeah. So man, it started off like we just felt like we were gonna go undefeated. We should have. But the injury bug really hit me. I ended up
had an ankle injury.
But yeah, it started with Wes because he sprained his ankle in the Christmas tournament. I think we played Stephen Decatur. The game before, everybody was looking for the Snow Hill game. We already had him on the schedule. That was our last game of the season. We already had him on the schedule, so we had that marked off because that's who we beat in the championship.
Right.
And the summer league. You know what I'm saying? So they want revenge. We want to show them, yeah, we for real. You know what I'm saying? So we played them in the Christmas tournament, but the game before we played, I think it was Stephen Decatur, and West turned his ankle.
It was. You're right. It was Decatur because he got hurt, and then when y'all played, what stuck out to me against when y'all played Snow Hill in the Christmas tournament, and I think maybe this set the precedent for y'all when y'all beat them to eventually get to the states, and we'll get to that. Is that you guys were up? I don't know if you even remember this, but you guys were up 4 with like a minute. So actually, no, 32 seconds left, and you guys fouled a guy. Matt Hayward got a tech, another turnover. They ended up beating y'all by 1. But the thing about it is they beat y'all by 1, but y'all didn't have West.
Right.
And so they had big Sharon Mills, but y'all didn't have West. So I think that actually helped y'all going forward. But that's just what I read.
You're right. And the thing about that, when I never forget now that you bring that up, when Mr. Hayward got that tech, everybody, why you do that? You know how the fans are, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Out on him, and I don't know what it was that made him get the tech, but so that it was, I don't know, for a lot of people, they might have looked at it, that was a moral victory, but we felt like we should have won that game. When we with moral victories, we should have won that game, you know what I'm saying? Because we wanted to go. even though that game didn't count against our record, we still didn't win that game. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
yeah, and then we knew we had to play them again. So, but again, we went through we went through the Bayside, you know, and again, keep in mind, in '87, North Carolina, they won the championship. Jeff Chambers.
They sure did. Yep.
Yeah.
That was his sophomore year, right? That was Jeff's sophomore year. They won. They won in '87. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Matter of fact, they beat us to go across the bridge. So
got you.
Yep, at the in Salisbury, at Salisbury State. So yeah, so they won. So we was like, yeah, we gonna get them. So we got them at North Carolina. I think I had like 29 that game, like 5 threes.
Yeah, you did.
I went wild on them. And so you gotta realize too, I had a couple little bunnies that I was smashing over Denton, you know what I mean? So they was
Hello, no. Right.
Yeah. So they gave me motivation, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, you know, that it was just like, listen, it was like this, man. Anybody that you had to be there to understand like that year, we were like rock stars, man. We had fans from other schools coming to see us. They wouldn't even go to that team. They were coming to see us.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah.
You know, from Colonel Richardson, Kent, all of them, they were coming to see Easton. Even Cambridge, they were tough too. They were tough too. But if Cambridge wasn't playing, they were coming to Easton. You know what I mean?
And I was gonna say, I'm glad you brought Cambridge up, because you guys also beat Cambridge for the first time since '84.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that. Wayne had 34 in that victory against Cambridge. Talk a little bit about that, beating Cambridge finally.
I'm gonna tell you, and this is another thing too. Going back to Mr. Sampson, he had a talk when he played Washington. I think we played Washington High School, and you know, we won by like 30 or something like that. You know, we cutting up, cracking, calling names, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So we always be sitting in the back, you know. So he called me, Wills, Gibbo. Wes was already up front. Wes didn't even sit up there back there with me, Wills, Gibbo, home, close come up front. He talked to us, man, and he was like, yo, you know, we got a big game coming up. We didn't look at it like that. We like, another game, you know? I mean, we knew the pressure with Cambridge, man.
Right, but
we felt like we're going to beat them like we beat everybody else. That's how confident we were, you know? But for Mr. Sampson, he went through the years where Easton would lose by 2 at the buzzer and by 3, you know? I mean, the tight games that Easton Cambridge had, and it will always be Easton on the other side of it losing, you know? It was so bad. It was so bad, bro, that people thought that Easton was scared of Cambridge, like physically. Like if we lose to Cambridge, like if we beat Cambridge,
something happened. Yeah, they worried about something. Yeah,
the groove, you know.
Yeah.
Because the way it would never fail. Look, it was games where I cried that Easton lost to Cambridge, man, because it would be right down to the end, and Pete Stanton or LaRon Wilmer, I remember the names, Artie Marine. You know what I'm saying? Like they would beat Easton, man, and it was like, yo, and me and Bone we promise you, when we get to high school, that's dead. That is dead. And me and I'll talk about this a little later, but me and Tyrone Travis built a little kinship through when we went to basketball camp, 5-star. But that's the following year, but I'll get into that though. But yeah, so when we you know, getting ready to prepare to play Cambridge, you know, Coach Sampson was, you know, talking about the past and everything like that. And Will said, over my dead body. And we playing in Cambridge. So mind you, they hadn't beat Cambridge. Yes. And then when they won in Cambridge, you know. But you like, and he like, you know, the crowd, you know, and we played there before. I played JV there before. I already know what the crowd is like, you know, sold out before JV. I already know that, you know. And I just felt real confident because I know my guys are with me. I know Wills are with me. You know, I know Gibbo, I know Wes. And I know how we come, man. We coming hard. I already know. So those are 4 guys that I know I bring to any battle with me. I ain't worrying about nothing else. You know.
Yeah,
and showing up.
that's real.
Wills had like 34 points. Yo, he went crazy. He snapped in that
Yeah,
joint.
he did. 34.
Yeah,
Yeah,
30.
he did,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was tough, man. I want to get more about Wills, about Wayne, man, because there's some of the stats that I looked up with him. You know, it's amazing. But
To me, he
so
the
you
greatest
guys
player
beat Cambridge.
at Easton for me.
Well, listen. Since you said that, now listen. I'm glad you said that because I ain't gonna lie. The last 2 days I've been sitting there. I said, man, you can't tell me that you can't make the argument at least that Wayne Wilson is the greatest to come out of Easton. And I'm gonna give y'all a stat. I was gonna wait. I'll give y'all this stat.
Mm-hmm.
Wayne only had 2 games that he scored under 10 points. One was his sophomore year. The other one was the second time y'all played North Carolina, y'all senior year. He scored 6. Those were the only 2 games he had under 10 points. Almost had 1,400 for his career. Hit big shot. He had big shot after big shot. I mean, he had a 3 for y'all to beat Cambridge y'all senior year. Y'all were down 1. He had a big 3. I mean, he was big time, man. So I mean, while we on it, just talk a little bit about Wayne, though, man. He could do it all. It seemed like 6'5", shoot outside, score inside. I think he did a behind the back dunk. I mean, he did everything, man. Rebound, block shots.
He was my guy. Like, he was my guy because, you know, like, especially our senior year, because it was me. Now it was just down to me, him, and Gibbo, you know.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. Yep.
No longer at 5, you know. So now and then going into my senior year, you know, Coach Hayward, you know, he was like, yo, I'm gonna need you to score more. He said, although you're gonna be playing a point because you need to be, you're gonna have the ball in your hands more because you need to get prepared for college. So really, it's like you and Gibbo, y'all decide who's gonna bring the ball up, who's gonna initiate the offense. So Gib would, you know, defer to me a lot because he knows my senior year and coaches were coming to see me. So he wanted to make sure, you know, I was on display for that. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But Wills, man, it was like he was always. If I got in, like, when I go to the rack, I can't tell you how many. If I could count how many alley-oops I threw to this dude, I would throw at least 2. He would get like 2 dunks off of alley-oops from me a game, just from me. And Gibbo would catch him a couple of times. It was crazy, like, and that's why teams would. I mean, not teams, but people from other schools would come to see us. You know, obviously we had Wes, and we had Wills. I mean, and then you know, us guards, we pressed from one end to the other. Like Georgetown used to press back in the day. We pressed from one end to the other all game. Press. And the thing about it, and that's why we would get those big leads. We turn teams over, and you know, Hawk will bring it up. You know, we're talking about the depth or lack of. We didn't have a deep team. We had a strong 5, but when we went to our bench, it was a big drop. But that goes to back what I was saying before. Like, there's a lot of guys that should have been playing and didn't play. They could have been nice to really help us. You know what I'm saying? But it was what it was. Right. But yeah, our 5 was as strong as it could get. And Bone could have went to any other high school and averaged 20 a game. You know?
Yeah.
Gibbo the same.
I was gonna say I sent him a message. I sent Bones a message the other day. I found one of them where he had 23, 22 another game, and like you say, he played his role, but at any time, you know, he could go off because he could shoot the 3 ball at a high level. And Gibbo, it's funny you said, because I know how you were saying that when you were a freshman, Sampson had to tell you to shoot more, but then Gibbo, his junior year, they asked the same of him because since it was down to 3 y'all instead of 5, then Coach Matt Hayward asked him to score more. So it's funny how that works.
Yeah. But going back to Will, I'm gonna tell you this real quick. Like our junior year, junior year. That's when we started having coaches starting to come. You know, we had John Chaney come to visit. And this was supposed to be a package deal. It was supposed to be Wes and Will was going to Temple, right?
Wow.
But because at that time you had Prop 40, you had Prop 48, so you had to have at least a 750 on your SAT, or you had to sit out. So you know, you had that a lot at the time, of course, and it was no straight to high school at that time, you know, so you had to go, you know, school, whatever. So Wes had to go to Hagerstown So the deal was he was going to go to Hagerstown for a year and then transfer to Temple, get his SAT, pass it, get the over 750, and get his grades right, and then go to Temple.
Right.
And then Wills was going to go, after his senior year. But then Wills ended up he went to Hagerstown too.
Mm. I think you muted again.
Me heavy. That's where I was going to go until UMS came in the picture and sold me on the Black Power tip. We'll get into that later. But we used to always think like Wills, but they had Mark Macon at the time. They had Howie Evans at Temple. Just thinking of the Temple team at that time, they had Wills and Wes on that team, how much better they would have been, how things would have been different for Wills. You know, I mean,
man, that's crazy.
We always say what if and all that. I mean, we live our lives, we make our decisions or whatever. But for me, and I know sometimes I get a nod as being, one of the greatest or the greatest to play at Easton, and but I played with the greatest. The greatest was Wayne, hands down.
That's real. That's real. That's real. And I want to go back to that college decision because you actually got muted a couple of times for some reason. You might have hit something, but we good now. It happened like twice and then it came back on. We good.
But my pops called me about the Lakers. I know you called me.
Oh. Okay. I know what you mean. I'll be having to put a call block or something on here too, or Nora calls and all that. So, but let me say this, and then we'll move on to getting to the Final Four and what y'all did. One more thing about Wayne Wilson. I told you some of the stats. Like I said, sophomore year, made second team. Y'all junior year, he was co-player of the year along with Tyrone Travis. And senior year, he made first team. So, I mean, those accolades. It's hard to say, it's hard to argue against that. So thanks for saying that, because when I was looking at this stuff, I wanted to say it myself. You played with him, so, you know more than me. So I appreciate that. Let's I definitely want to talk about that. Right. I definitely want to talk about the Final Four and what y'all did to get there, though. We talked briefly about it. You guys had a 10-game winning streak until Cambridge, and this is still your junior year in '88 until Cambridge beat you. You then end up clinching it with a win against Colonel Richardson, and y'all didn't go to the Bayside and play Wahai. And you can touch on that game, the Bayside, if you want. Lose it to Wahai by 6. But going into the playoffs is really what I want to get into. You guys get your payback on Snow Hill, beat those guys, and it really wasn't even a close game. And you guys go, to Cole Fieldhouse at the time for the state championships and win the regionals. Let's talk a little bit about that, how that felt to finally get over there. First time in 20 years.
Yeah, it was bittersweet. And actually going into that Cambridge game that week before the week of the second time we played, and we beat them in Cambridge and at home.
Right.
We during practice that week I sprained my ankle, and I missed that game, and we lost. But I honestly thought that, me being out, they can hold it down, but they didn't. Cambridge beat us, I think by like 7 or 8, something like that at home.
8.
8 was 8, yeah. And again, Cambridge was stacked. They had Tyrone Travis, they had Adrian Wilson. Matter of fact, Adrian was like 6'4", Tyrone like 6'7". They had Larry Ferrer, he like 6'5". And actually, Adrian Wilson ended up going to the University of Maryland. He was the quarterback. He was one of the first or second black quarterback at the University of Maryland.
Oh, wow.
So he went there. Larry Ferrer went to East Carolina as wide receiver. So those guys, Cambridge, they multiple sports guys. But the crazy part, though, we were, even with the rivalry, we had a kinship too, out of respect.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? When we was on the court, we was going each other's throats. You know what I'm saying? That respect though was there. Scales, Dwayne Taylor.
Yep.
Figure 88, you know, and this is when it was Class A, Class B, Class C. So
Class
we were
C.
Class C, yeah. And we of course we went across, and Cambridge went across too as Class B. So
Yep.
you got to figure in '87, North Carolina went over. They won a title. In '88, Easton and Cambridge both went, and we both lost. And in '89, you know, Still Hill went over. They won. They beat us to go over, and they won. And then Cambridge went over and won in '89. So those 3 years,
Talent, man.
Incredible years, man. Incredible years, man. And a lot of D1 players, a lot of guys, you know, a lot of success. That for me, and I'm gonna say it because not just because I'm partial, but because I've seen a lot of Bayside hoops. I can't recall a better period than that 3-year period, competition wise and success wise. I mean, it was documented. You see it. I mean,
I agree. Yeah,
it ain't
documented. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like there it is in black and white. You know what I'm saying? So, but going into that, man, losing to Cambridge, I sprained my ankle. I missed I was out 5 games. So I missed about 2.5 weeks. I missed. The only game we lost was the Cambridge game. But then I knew we had Snow Hill coming. The doctor said that I would be out for like a month and a half. That would take us into the playoffs, and maybe not. Might even miss it. You know what I mean? So I'm like, nah, I can't do that. So I came back early. I came back for that Snow Hill game. I wasn't 100%, but I asked my doctor, I said, is there something that you can do? He's like, well, you can wear an air cast. So I wore an air cast in my shoe, which was probably the most uncomfortable thing ever.
Ooh, wow, did you? Yeah.
Yeah, and I wore that for the rest of the year, you know? And I'm going to tell you, man, so many times, and this is something that nobody else knows. I've never said this to anybody other than my mom's, because, you know, the pain, I would come home down there crying because my ankle's so swollen and stuff. But I never said nothing to coach because he probably wouldn't let me play. So I never complained, never mentioned to any of the players, nobody, because I didn't want nobody to say nothing to coach, you know?
Yeah.
Because he would be looking out for my best interest or whatever, even though, you know, it was me not being there. But again, this goes to Shelton's point about that 98 team. What ended up hurting us was our lack of depth. That ended up really hurting us, biting us at the end. Going fast forward to when we played Smithville in the four, you know, myself and Wes got in foul trouble, so we had to go deep into our bench, you know. But even before that, but that we'll talk about that. But the Cambridge game, that was tough. Not playing in that game, knowing that, yo, I need to be out there with my guys and they lost, you know. And then so I said I got to get back for the Snow Hill game. So I got back and I really played possum. I came back. I didn't start. They put me in the game, and as soon as I came in, you know, I made a couple of assists. So what I was doing, my game is real vertical. So I do a lot of cutting, a lot of penetrating, I penetrate, kick at the bone, kick at the gap, kick at the wheels, you know. Down low to West, you know, that was my game. And I couldn't do that. I was like really one-dimensional. And I would kind of use like a little jab, little fakes to try to get people off of me, where before I would just 2 dribbles and I'm going by them, you know.
Gotcha.
I would listen, man, the stuff Kyrie and them doing is cool. You know, I was doing it. I would throw the ball legs in the game.
I know you was. God.
That whole like
crazy,
man. Behind the back and
right.
I was doing that in high school. You know what I mean? I would get the ball, fake up and then go between the dude's legs in the game. You know, I was doing stuff like that. You know, and so because I had the confidence, when I was hobbling like that, I couldn't do any of that. So it took away a lot of what I do that made me go. And again, eventually, you know, I think it hurt us, man. And then when we got down to, I'm gonna tell you, when we played Wild High in the Bayside championship down at UMES, and Tommy Williams came back. Tommy was out. Tommy was one of the top guards in the country. Tommy was tough.
He had 32 that game. Yeah.
Huh?
He had 32 that game.
Man,
Tommy Williams. Yeah.
Listen, this dude was the truth, man. And it's somebody that we ain't give nobody props. We ain't give anybody props. Yo, we gave him all the props, man. It was like, yo, and we knew going into it because we played against them in the summer. You know what I mean? And we killed them in the summer league. You know, but we knew you know if a guy's nice or not. You know if they can hoop. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
We knew that, and we knew they were going to be different. We blew them out earlier in the season, but we knew they were going to be a different team with them. But even with that, I couldn't get off, man. I turned my ankle. Every game I would turn my ankle, and it would just slow me up. But I ain't complaining about it. I kept playing through it, and it really bothered me that game. And then that game when we played across the bridge, I just didn't have it. But I ain't want to come out. Maybe that might have hurt us. I don't know. I ain't telling anybody about it. I just played through it. But I just kind of relegated myself to shooting outside shots, you know. And yeah, it hurt, man. It hurt because when you know you got the best team, you got the better team, and you don't come through, and that's your only shot, because we knew that was our only shot with that team. You know, that five, we were only going to be together for that 1 year. And you know, even myself, even though me, Gibb, and Wills were coming back the following year, but we have Wes and Bone, so we knew it was different. Yeah. But it was tough. It was tough.
Yeah, I bet. And I will correct myself. Tommy Williams had 11 that baseline game. It was a guy on Wahai. Last name was Coles. I don't know if you know. First name, he had 32 that game, so he went off that game. But like I said, so then you guys go to the playoffs. I know that was a baseline game. You go to the playoffs. You beat Snow Hill you and Snow Hill to win it, and you beat Snow Hill. Wayne has 27, Wes has 26, and then you finally, getting across the bridge. I mean, what was that feeling like, man? I mean, being regional champs, before we even get to the game against Smithburg, what was that feeling like of finally, being able to say, we're Easton, we're going across the bridge?
Man, listen, that was the most incredible feeling, man, because as you know, being an Eastern Warrior, man, we had the most supportive fans, man. Johnny Fell,
most definitely.
The whole thing, man. And then again, we adopted fans from other schools. So again, we had Colonel Richardson, even North Carolina. At that time, North Carolina was Class B. So, when we played down at UMES, like I seen people from Easton, Cambridge, everywhere, Kent, even Queen Anne. Queen Anne wasn't even in our, they weren't in the Bayside. They was playing across the bridge at that time. But people, Centerville, Gracersville, whatever, they come to, support us, So the magnitude of it, we even cats from Cambridge, down there on the team, they there, you know what I mean? Because they Class B. So they there, y'all got to pull through, man, so we can get across this bridge together, like that. So represent the North Bayside, you know what I'm saying? So it was just major. And it was a nip and tuck game, man. We didn't open it up until the second half. And they jumped out on us. I remember, and even with that, like I said, that even with that game, I turned my ankle a couple times. I'm like, my joint was pounding, and I'm like, man, I don't know if I can get through this. But then that second half adrenaline got going. I think Bone and Gibbo picked Sean Johnson a couple times. Norman Ayers. He picked because that's what we good at, man. I don't know, we would get so many steals. I don't know how many steals.
Well, you know what, D, I'm glad you said that, because I did want to touch on that real quick. Y'all had a press that you guys ran. I don't know if it was a 2-2-1. I can't remember what it was, but you also did a half court trap. But talk about that defensive pressure that y'all did.
Well, see, the thing about it, again, with us having that 3 guard, see, I was listed as a forward, but I was really a guard because I played. Yeah,
you was a guard. Yeah.
Whenever we played zone, and we would switch. That's the thing. We would give teams different looks. We would do a full court press, and then sometimes, we'll fall back in a 1-3-1, or we'll do we'll fall back in a 1-3-1, and then we'll jump trap, and then sometimes we'll jump trap just for a little bit, show them something, throw them off, and then drop back into the zone, and then come back out of the zone. I mean, we do a lot of jumps. teams all the time, so they never knew it was coming. But I think our biggest defensively for us, and again, Wes wasn't the fastest guy, so that zone worked for him. But when we were trapping and whatnot, Wes would always stay back. We would do a 1-3-1, like full court trap. Gibbo would be up front, Wills would be in the middle, me and Bone on the wings, and Wes all the way in the back. And we would do that full court. And it would, if you didn't have a good guard that could handle that pressure, we'd eat you alive. And that's the one thing that we couldn't do against YI, because Tommy was such an incredible ball handler, and he never got battled, and he would break the press. It got to a point where we had to come out of that press because he was breaking it. So,
throwing it over top. Yeah,
man. And then, again, and I didn't have the lateral movement, to really, pressure like I normally do. I hate to keep harping on that, but as I look back on it,
it is what they did.
It was what it was, man. But that trap that we would throw that surprise on cats, man, they wouldn't know what to do, man.
I read about that.
That's another thing that hurt us too when we played across the bridge, is that because I think we jumped out on like 25-18 or something like that in the first quarter. We were gonna blow them dudes out. We scored 25 in the first quarter, so we were looking on. We was gonna get close to average, 100 points, 25 in the first quarter. And then I got my my third foul, and Wes got his third foul. We got 3 fouls in the first half, and so obviously we couldn't press. And even when we got back in the game in the second half, we couldn't. We had to fall back in the zone to protect myself and protect Wes. And that took away a lot of what we do, how we generate our offense, through that pressure and through that defense, man.
That was and look, I know you still think about that game because Bone said the same thing too, because you gave me the exact score. Y'all did score 25-19. Y'all was winning after the first, so you remember that. So you were right on. You were right.
Look, and I'm gonna tell you, man, that the day. Let me see. Once we got over there, we went over there the day before, which I think was a mistake at the time. Coach looking like, all right, we're gonna go over there. You guys stay, so we don't have to drive over, so you won't have the tired legs. You're gonna stay over the night before, get your rest and all. Man, we ain't getting no rest. Listen, we was in the cheerleaders' rooms. We was smashing the cheerleaders. One group we smashing the cheerleaders, and then another group going downtown College Park to the little liquor store.
Oh y'all should have said.
It looked like he's 30 years old, so he getting the liquor for us, the drink, the beers, you know what I'm saying? Wilding out the night before, and we kids, high school kids, celebrating,
right?
And we thinking and we're gonna do what we're gonna do, regardless. And it didn't work out that way, man. It didn't work out that way.
Yeah. And you were definitely right about, and I want to get your perspective on this game before we move on the loss. Y'all lost 80-75, and the thing that sticks out to me about the game, and you're 100% right. You and Wes picked up 3 fouls, bad calls. Even Mac Hayward, said that he thought the officiating was going to be different and it wasn't. But you guys did go 10 for 24 from the foul line. That hurt, and then to your point, that second half, you guys couldn't press, but you guys did come out, establish Wes. He had 25 and 12, and you guys were up 6, getting ready to go into the fourth, and then one of their guys hit a 3 right before the end of the third to kind of stop that momentum. Then they scored 2 buckets at the beginning of the fourth, so they go basically from down 6 to basically now up 1, and y'all kind of went back and forth. And then I was reading where Mac Hayward was kind of saying, and maybe, and I'd like to hear from you on this, is that maybe you guys kind of got 3-point heavy. I don't know how true that is or not, and maybe should have kind of started going back to West. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and see that goes back to my point of me not being able to move. Like I said, I was one-dimensional. Like I said, I was just shooting jumpers, and that was because I didn't have a lateral movement to get to the basket. So. And going back to the fouls, I remember one foul in particular. Normally, boom, 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 I make my move, I'm gone, But because I didn't have a lateral movement, I pushed off on the dude because I couldn't get by. So I got a charge.
Right, I got you.
I had two charges. One was the push off, and another one, same thing, just trying to bully my way through because I didn't have a lateral movement. And then another one was a call that it was like I didn't even touch the dude. It was somebody else's special. like a dog, like I wasn't even over there. You know what I'm saying? But
yep.
I'm a 34, white. I'm like, I wasn't even over there. So that was the one that set me to the bench. And I was like, that was crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, going back to Wes, man, it was like Wes was killing. But what was happening though, because Wes was killing, what they were doing, they were sending double and triple team. So Wes was doing the right thing, kicking it out, and we had wide open looks. We were just missing them with shots that we normally make. But instead, but we were being very impatient, because what we should have done is even though we had the shot, you know, and the defense was shift, we should have kicked it back down to Wes, and he would have had a clear look. You know what I mean? But we got impatient. Shots that we normally make, we weren't making. Me in particular, I just, you know, wasn't myself totally. So I was settling, and man, I mean, really, Wes should have had about 40 points that game, man, for real. You know, going back looking at it, I'm like, yo, we dropped the ball. Even though we had the foul trouble and everything else, we still should have won that game 10 easily, at least. But that's you know,
still a great year though.
If we would play that team 10 times, man, we would beat them 9. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, yo, yeah. They eventually lost in the championship, so they ended up losing in the championship.
And that's the thing. We also were looking ahead because Craig Amos, who they played Mill for Mill, and they had Craig Amos. So everybody was wanted to see that matchup between Craig Amos and Wes. Craig Amos went to St. He ended up those. He was like 6'7", 6'8", big guy, you know. So everybody was anticipating that. Oh, Craig Amos and Wes Cornish battled big men, you know, and we didn't hold up our end. I think might have beat the brains out of the other team, man.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Because it was that was tough, man. That was tough. And I think when they lost to Gwynn Park, Yeah. They lost too.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. Me and Bone, we always talk about that, man. That one thing leave a bitter taste in the mouth over 30 years later, man. Still like
Yeah. I still, like you said, I'm still gonna get with y'all on that and get y'all together, you Bones, and you know, Gibbo coached me. He was my assistant coach my junior year, so I got a special fondness for Gibbo. That's my guy. You know what I mean? And I love the you know Wayne. I see him on Facebook. I'm not sure if he's on there, but I tried to request him, you know, a while back. But I got to get with you guys, man, because and hear more, man. But still, like you said, you know, tough loss, but a great year. You know, in your junior year, and you did end up, despite the ankle injury, you still ended up making a second team All Bayside as a junior. And like I said before, you know, Wayne was the player of the year, and along with Tyrone Travis, and Wes was also on the first team as well. And then, like you said, you know, the contributions that Bones and Gibbo made. So what was your mentality, DonniOh? I wouldn't even say going into your senior. I would say even that summer, knowing that, you know, Wes is gone, you know, and Bones is gone, they graduate. So, you know, I mean, I know you now, so I can imagine, you know, 17-year-old, you know, DonniOh at that time is thinking like, you know, it's time to swirl more. It's time to kill, you know, basically that attack mentality. Yeah, now I know, you know, Soup's one of my favorite players that I watch because I got to see him, and he always talked about attack, and now I know where he got that from, being that y'all are related, you know, and whatnot. But where do you know, what was your mentality going into that senior year?
Yeah, speaking of that, man, you know, Soup, Balls, them come from the battles in the backyard battles, man. We had a court in the backyard, and Jason Brown, Big Norman, Terry, Sleepy, Boone Johnson, Black, Jason Wolford, you know, they all were in the backyard, man. And I would get physical with them. They know, hey, you can ask them. I ain't played with them. So when you come to the hole, you're gonna earn it, you know. And that's where they got that bully ball from, man, because I put it in them, man, you know, and because them older cats put it in me, you know what I mean? Right. Forward, you know what I mean? So that's where they came from. And but yeah, you know, going into my senior year, man, that's when I realized that basketball was gonna be something special. Before I was playing, like I said, I won the MVP at University of Maryland basketball camp 3 years in a row for my age group, which was cool. I had a couple coaches talk to me, UMBC, Towson, George Mason, George Washington, when I was at the camp. But that was it, nothing heavy, they just complimented me and, that thing. But it wasn't until that summer, going into my senior year, is when I started getting, like, my first letter was University of Delaware. That was my first letter that summer. And then I got a letter from UMBC. And then I got a letter from Towson. And then I went to 5-star camp, myself, Tyrone Travis. That's when he and I became really close. Along with Sharon Mills, we all became, and Jeff Chambers, we all became really close. So Mike Roberts, who went to Pocomoke, he was going to the 10th grade. He was the youngest of us. But everybody else, we were rising seniors. And so we went down there, and this is a funny story. Coach Hurley, Cambridge coach, he drove us down. And that
great to hear.
Yeah, he used that opportunity to sincerely recruit me and Jeff.
I bet.
To come to South Dorchester High School. So he pitched it to us heavy, and it was like, y'all can stay with me during the week, and you can go back home on the weekends, and to make it legal, and the whole nine. And I'm like, there's no way in hell I would go to Cambridge, South Dorchester High School.
No way.
If I did, man, there's no way. You know what I mean? So obviously that didn't happen.
Oh, that's fun.
Jeff just laughed it off or whatever. But he was dead serious. Like, he was really trying to recruit us, man.
Oh, I bet.
And but then we built a kinship, man. It was just lasted, to this day, and that's when I started getting my looks. And again, going there, we had Bobby Hurley, Sam Cassell, Kenny Anderson, Grant Hill, Allen Houston, Jerry Walker, who went to Seton Hall, Ariel McDonald, he went to Minnesota, Monty Williams, now the coach at Phoenix. Matter of fact, he was my roommate. That camp was deep, and at that time, 5-star was like the premier camp, and so you had to be recommended by 2 college coaches to go. So yeah, we went, and we represented, man, and that's when we all got put on the map. I remember vividly, I wanted Bobby Hurley because at that time, Kenny Anderson and Bobby Hurley, they were like 1 and 2 as far as the point guards. I knew Kenny Anderson was the deal. Oh, and Kurt Smith too was there too.
Okay.
Smith, he was supposed to go to Temple. That's Charles Smith brother. He went to Georgetown.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
He was supposed to go to Temple, but he didn't go. He got caught up out there like so many other guys, whatever. But it was tough, man. It was tough. But I went there, and at that point, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm here now. And I remember playing Bobby Hurley. Like, I wanted him so bad. And I gave him business, man. And then we had the camp All-Star game, and we went to work in that All-Star game. I played with Allen Houston and Jerry Walker. Well, Jerry was on my team anyway. Tyrone and Sharon were on the other team. Jeff, me, Jeff. We had Allen Houston, Monty Williams, and it was another cat too. But yeah, so man, that was an incredible experience, man. And from there, that's when the letters started coming in, man. And I never forget, Coach Hayward said, I got a bunch of letters for you. We're gonna go over them. They come into the school. We're gonna go through them and sit down and see, what decisions we're gonna make going forward. I'm like, all right, cool. So, but we didn't talk about it, and we didn't actually have that sit down. Probably, I don't know, maybe a week, a couple weeks, maybe later, But again, like I said, at this point, I'm getting University of Delaware, Towson, different schools, local schools mainly,
Right.
Delaware was courting me like heavy. And they sent me Christmas cards, birthday cards. They were on it, you know, sending me, you know, gear. And, you know, I don't even think they were supposed to do that, but they did.
Yeah.
They put me hard, man. And I kept them in the mix because, and then, you know, the coach would call. They had a period where they can actually call you and talk to you, whatever. Then they had a dead period, whatever. But I felt good with that assistant, you know, and I had good vibes about him. But I'm like, I ain't going there though. But I really like their persistence and how they were, and you know, they were. They showed a lot of love, man, and that's why I kept them probably like down to my last 4 schools. But yeah, one, and honestly though, when I sat down with Mr. Hayward and when I saw the letters that he had for me, and when I saw St. John's and Syracuse and Michigan and Penn State, and I'm like, Delaware? Sorry, bro.
Yeah. You weighing it like, yeah.
You know, I had a lot of those schools, man, but the one school I didn't have that I was really hoping to see was North Carolina, because that's the school that I loved. Like growing up, I was a big North Carolina Tar Heel fan. I didn't get a letter from them, so I felt some type of way about it. But then I'm like, they already got King Rice.
Yeah.
He just went there, you know. They already had like their guards or whatever, which I understood, but I still at least wanted a letter to draw some interest from them. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Man.
Yeah.
Man, that's dope, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. So talk to me a little. Well, and you know what? And before I get to that 89 senior year, if we could settle for all 88 versus 98. I know how 88 versus 98. I know you talked about your starting 5 is obviously I think the best in East High history. I think Coach Butler would attest to that as well. I would say that Shelton and them definitely was probably the deepest. They were the deepest team. Oh, yeah. But if you guys were to go head to head, you know, 88 versus 98, let Shelton know why y'all would take care of him.
Hey, listen, long way. Hey, I'm gonna be a buck, man. Long way get no foul trouble. We good. We get foul. It might be an issue. You know what I'm saying?
That's real. That's real.
And that's a testament to that deepness, man. I already know. Like I seen him play. See, he was too young to see us. He just, you know, he just goes by, you know, the stories and whatnot. He might have seen me play, but it was way past my prime when he seen me play. You know what I mean? Right. Me at the Y, whatever. But I was in my late 30s, I'm gonna be 50 this year. So I was in my late 30s, early 40s when they seen me play, and they never seen me play like when I was, you know, in my prime or whatever. So it was different, you know. You know, I gotta give them that props, man. That team right there, them, and that 97 team, that 97 Easton team, you know, with Joel now.
I'm glad you said that. That was the 97 team was the first team that I seen play in person, was the 97. And I love that team. You had Joel at the point, Marty, Terry, James, and Big Mike. I mean, that was a starting 5 right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that
was a starting 5.
And I'm gonna say, you know, that team reminded me of us because of the depth. Well, not the depth so much, but that starting 5 so solid. You know, at every position they can. And see, the thing about them, like us, you know, there weren't many teams. Easton had some teams, but you know, Easton was always guard oriented, and the big okay. But you know, with us, we had like the ultimate big that we know we can dump it down. We're gonna get a bucket. You know what I'm saying? And they had that with Mike Walker. You know, Mike was a monster.
Yeah, he was.
Footwork. He had the power, the strength, the finesse. Yo, he had this move. I don't know if you ever seen him do the move when he do the joint.
I know it. Yes, sir. That's my guy.
Big man can move, man. So you know the Terry and Marty and Boss and Sleep. I mean, they you know Jamel, Jamel Belly. You know that was probably I think that was like 96. It might have been
96. Yeah. 96. Yeah.
They a little bit back. I'm going back a little bit now. Yeah, Easton had some squads, man. You know, Jason Brown, them team, man, Mark Pinkett and them when they had that squad. Monte Banks and them when they had that squad, man. You know, it was some cats even before that was there. I mean, I think they had But the difference with a lot of them, though, they didn't. Jason did, because Jason came from my cloth. You know what I'm saying? Like Jason was, he came from what we he came from the ranks of us. You know what I'm saying? And like Ball, and even like Soup, a little bit later. You know what I'm saying? With Bunky and all them. You know what I mean? They came through what we passed down to them. You know what I'm saying? And so I knew, once they got in high school, I already knew what it was gonna be. Even going further ahead, talk about LT. We had a basketball camp. We had.
He on here.
Oh, my man LT, word up. We had a basketball camp with Theo Ratliff.
Ratliff.
Yeah, one of my teammates from UMS, Mike Harris. He represented Theo. He was his manager, and that's why I was living in Philly at the time. I was living in Philly, and I was living with Mike, and it was after I had my store and whatnot. So he was like, yo, they got any basketball camps out on the shore? I'm like, I know of, He's like, let's do a camp, you know what I'm saying? So I got with James Bell, hit him up, yo, can we get the gym? Because I know he had the AAU program, can we get the high school gym? We're gonna do basketball. And he was like, oh, he said, you can do it through our program and you get it for free. I'm like, word? So boom, we got it, we did it. And LT, that was the first time, I knew him, I knew him through, growing up. I didn't know he played ball though. And again, because I had been away, I was living in Philly. And man, I seen him. He had to be maybe 11, 12, maybe. I just seen, like, I kept looking. I'm like,
different.
Yo, I said, he's gonna be the one. He's gonna be the one.
You can tell.
And he turned out to be that one, man. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you can see, at an early age, some kids, that they got it. You know what I mean? And,
Definitely.
And it ain't even like with Shelton and all them. You know what I'm saying? Like Shelton on the hill and all that. Him, Terry, and all them playing. Like I saw that they had it. You know what I mean? I knew they had it. You could just see. Actually, Shelton was a little better, even more better than I thought it was gonna be. You know what I mean? And then he grew on me to be like 6'4" or so. And they had the handle. And the jumper was broke. His jumper was broke, but oh,
I know you're gonna say so.
Shell was tough, man, and I was proud. When he came back from South Carolina, and I'm like, yo, you got it, young fella, you got it. You know what I mean? But I gotta say, Shelton rides with his team, man. He's a rider. He's whatever. Look, he rides.
I respect that.
He ride for LeBron James, and he rides for
You gotta respect that. No, definitely.
My man Hawk. I love that guy right there. I love that.
Well, definitely. And listen, and talk about the Duke thing for a minute. I do got a request on here. Bubbles was asking, what exactly did you do to Bobby Hurley? Do you remember whether it was a statistic or maybe a move you put on him? I know you said you ate Bobby Hurley up. What? I
turned him around, I don't know how many times, with the same move. I used to do it. I used to do the same, like Jordan I got it from Jordan. Jordan used to do this in and out move. And they used to say, oh, because I remember when he first started doing it, and announcers would be like, oh, that's a carry. He's palming the ball. He's not. The ball, his hands on the side of the ball. All he's doing is going in and out, And he used to do it, and then he do his pull-up. You know what I mean? So I did it, but I would add a little twist to it. I would go in and out, and then I would go through my leg and then come back, So I was doing a crossover. I guess it was a crossover. We ain't even call it a crossover then. It was just shake and bake. I don't know what you call it, but that's what I was hitting him with the same move. And he would turn all the way. It's funny now, but he would turn around because he knew like what was going on. Like, and they kept saying, he putting him in the blender. He putting him in the blender because he kept spinning. And I'm thinking, like, this dude's from Jersey. He's from North Jersey.
Right.
So he done played with some of the best guards, against some of the best guards, in Jersey, New York, and all that. And it's almost like he never seen that move. He had to see that move. I know I wouldn't know when he did that move. But that was just funny to me. And I'm like, yo, and I was posting them up because that's what I did too. I would post up anybody my size or smaller, I would post them up. So we both 6 feet, but at the time I'm really slim too. But I was strong for my size, for my size. I was posting them up and hitting with the little chicken wing, a little hook that Ronald Blake taught me. Go around, doing it when the ref is not looking. You got to pick and choose when you do those. You know what I mean? And little nuances of the game that I had learned from the older guys that I was utilizing. When I played guys my age, and so that was the move, yo, hitting with that little in and out, and boom, boom, and came back. That's what it was.
That's dope. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Definitely appreciate that. So you talked about what you did at ABCD camp and talked about like you said, your mentality going to your senior year with it just being you, Wills, and Gibbo. But talk about as Shaq would call them, the others. Talk about the others for a second, because obviously you knew what you were getting out of those three. But talk about some guys you knew you needed to step up. Guys like Stanley Stewart, guys like Brian Evans, guys like Deion Blackwell. Talk about the importance of guys like that you need.
Man, listen, I forgot all about Brian. Listen, Brian transferred from Cambridge, right? So it was a big flag about that. And, everybody from Cambridge group called him a sellout, this, that, and the other, because Cambridge was loaded. That was loaded that year, too. And, even though they lost Adrian and lost Larry Ferrer, but they had Ernest Payne. Matter of fact, Ernest Payne went with us to the 5-star camp, too.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah. So they came right back in '89 with another deep team. And so.
Because Cambridge won '89, right?
Yeah, they won.
Cambridge won '89? Yeah.
Yep. That '88 team was actually better than the '89 team, but the '89 team won. Go figure. You know what I'm
saying? Yeah. Uh-huh.
But so I guess Bryant looked at Easton, and they saw me, Wills, and and him and Gibbo was real tight. You know what I mean? So Gibbo talked him into coming to Easton, and he came to Easton, and he was needed. Boy, if we didn't have, I'm gonna tell you, if we didn't have Bryant, man, because again, you got to figure. We still playing against North Carolina with Jeff Chambers still there. Yeah. We still playing with Sharon still there. We still playing Jam Bennett with Corey Morton still there. Sidney Johnson transferred to some high school in Annapolis. But then, Wild High still had a squad. Pocomoke still had a squad. Most of our tough games were the South teams. You know what I'm saying? So and teams, they still stacked. So we took the biggest hits, from one year to the next. But Stanley was big for us, man, because obviously he wasn't West. We used to call him Thumbs, because he would like passes, like we drop time. But again, we also realized too that Stanley really didn't play much organized basketball. So and it was another thing too, because we had that chemistry with one another. Yeah. Now we're trying to figure out where does Stanley like the ball? We know I can't throw a no look to him like I would do to Wes or the Wills. I would come down and boom, behind my neck, no look. They knew it was coming. He had to get used to that. So I had to get used to I can't do that with him. I got to lay it down, bounce pass, something simple that he can handle. But then we had Bryant he was huge for us, man. And then we had towards the end of the year, they moved up Bear and Michael Guy. I'm like, I wish they had done it earlier. Like we had been campaigning. We've been campaigning to get Bear moved up. Like we could use him like now. Right. But see, that JV team went undefeated, so they didn't want to mess that up.
Yeah.
They messed that up. But we was like, yo, we need Bear, yo. Because listen, when we play in the JV, Bear was killing Stanley. We was like, yo, we need that all because we had no inside presence. Stanley, he did what he could do, but we were used to having West, somebody to solidify, the paint.
Right.
We know Bear could add that. Bear was physical. Bear played with us. Bear grew up on the hill. He knew us. We knew him. They're like, come on, move him up. And it didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? Blackwell, I'm gonna tell you, Blackwell, he was big for us too. Deion Blackwell. He played a huge role for us in the paint. But again, you go from 6'9" to 6'2", 6'3".
It's different. It's different. It's a big difference. Yeah,
And
it is. It is. Yeah.
Matt Roberts, he came in. Matt was like 6'7".
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But Matt was real thin. Matt was a baseball player. That was his thing. You know what I mean? Great
Yeah.
baseball. And he had a nice touch for, big guy. He had a nice touch, but
Mm-hmm.
again, he did what he could do, and he was a big help. But missing that void, we just didn't have that. And then even with our press, when we did the press, we knew we could get up on teams pressing, and we could, take those chances because we had Wes in the back waiting. You know what I mean? So then we realized we couldn't take the chances when we run in the press. And a lot of times we couldn't do the things that we were used to doing because we didn't have that anchor in the back. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It makes a difference having that big guy. I got to play with Derek Cannon my senior year. 6'9", and it make it a lot easier for you back there. Them big guys make it a lot easier. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's real. That's real. So obviously, you were going in knowing you had to obviously score more. You and Wayne both, over 21 a game. That year, you sweep Cambridge for the first time. Like I said, I talked about the year before. You beat Cambridge for the first time in '84, but your senior year you swept Cambridge. I talked a little bit about the first game when Wayne hit the game winner. Wayne hit a big three, and then Deion Black also got a big layup. But talk about how I felt to sweep Cambridge. How I felt to sweep them boys.
I don't know. I guess the
Nothing
paper
really.
And other people made a big deal of it, but we expected it. You know what I mean? We didn't look at it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like me personally, I only went to Cambridge one time my whole career, including JV. So but with me on the floor, you know what I mean? That year we lost.
Yeah.
But I didn't. I felt like we had that number. We weren't afraid of them. We weren't intimidated by the crowd in Cambridge, and none of that. We in between the lines, we balling. You know what I'm saying? So we just had that mentality, and we always had. We played tough, like we played physical, and we took a lot of teams out of that by playing that way. Not nothing dirty or nothing like that, but I can tell you one game though. I can tell you we played North Carolina. It was our senior year, and we played North Carolina at home, and Cantrell Rich. Him and Wayne got into it, got joined or whatever. And Will's got a quick temper, yo. And so they were going at it right on one end, and then they went down on the other end, and they were going for the ball. Cantrell was going for the ball, and all I saw was Wayne just go, bam, bam. This dude in the paint punching him, right?
What?
And dude went down. Yo, it happened so quick. He didn't get ejected. Ain't no tech, no nothing. Like,
come on,
it happened so fast. I'm like laughing. I'm like, yo, did he really just punch dude? Yo,
that's crazy.
Cantrell is laying on the ground. Like, what happened? Like, why is he still in the game? You know what I'm saying? Like, it was crazy. Listen, I'm gonna tell you another story. I don't know if you we played Parkside at home, and this dude, our crowd was rowdy. It was rowdy, man. It was Tanya Brooks, rest in peace, man. Tanya Brooks. This dude, I don't know what happened. Her and this dude were exchanging words from Parkside, and he ran up in the stand at her. Like,
I read about that. Was crazy. Yeah. Crazy, I didn't know that was her though. Wow.
Yeah, ran up in the stand, man. And yo, dudes was just, I seen Robert Savoy and a couple other cats. Boom, 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 nailed them, right? It was about 4 or 5 dudes on dude, man. And he came up, face all bloody and stuff. And then of course they threw him out the game or whatever. They make he had to leave. But yeah, we had some crazy things, man. Stuff happened, man. When we beat Bennett, my 11th grade year, when we beat Bennett down there, we beat him by like 40, 30 something or whatever we beat him by. We had to get a police escort out of Bennett, man. Like they were ready to mess our bus up. They said they're gonna throw bottles and stuff at the bus and all that. I'm like, and nothing happened on the court. I don't know, like maybe because we beat them the way we did. I don't know, but wait like an hour before we left because they like, yeah, before we let y'all go, they talking about bombing the bus or whatever. Yeah, so we had some crazy incidents, man. It happened, man.
Nah, it sounds like it. It sounds like it. So I'm looking at numbers where you had 35 and you had 30. I seen another game where you and Gibbo both had 20, both had 5 steals. You had 13 assists. He had 12 assists. I mean, like numbers like, yeah, man, yeah, it's Dorchester, like stuff like that. To me, like that many assists in a game, you know what I mean, and high school, like it's crazy. Like you guys were just on point and wanted. But I want to get to a couple things more for your senior before we move. But talk about Gibbo going from past first point guard sophomore year to junior year, knowing that you guys needed him to score more, because even though you guys lost Bones and lost West, you guys still only lost to 2 teams that year for your 3 losses. You got swept by North Carolina and you lost to Snow Hill. Those are the only 2 teams that you lost to. So let's talk about the importance of Gibbo.
Yeah, man. We always knew Gibbo was one of the best pure shooters, probably the best pure shooter on our team. We already knew that. Even as a sophomore. I mean, he had the sweetest shot. It's just that he knew what
was needed.
Of the depth we had. Like somebody had to fall back with him, and between him being the youngest and the shortest. And the way to saying that, I'll sacrifice my game for the betterment of the team. He was a great leader. Gibbo was a really good leader, man. And he had no problem, addressing things and saying what he had to say. When guys ain't stepping up, guys ain't hustling, he'll get in your face. So I mean, he was the perfect cat for the job, man. And going into our senior year, we knew we needed more from him. But it wasn't like it was a situation where he couldn't deliver. We knew he could deliver. We already know what type of player he was, and
right.
So him just doing it. And again, which helped that as well, because again, Coach Hayward wanted to put me more at the lead guard, so that would be able to put him on the wing to score more. You know what I'm saying? And so that matter of fact, that game, like that was the first. It might have been the first game that I normally, like during the course of a game, like Gibbo will start off running the offense at point or whatever. During the course of the game, he'll move me over the point and I do a little, you know what I'm saying? But that was the first game where he had me playing the whole game at point. And Gibbo playing the whole game. And even with that, like I said, like you just said, I think Gibbo still had like even 11, 12 assists that game.
Yeah.
I had like 13 or whatever. But yeah, I mean, that was it was an incredible team, even though not having Wes and Bone, even looking back at it, that still was a great team that we had in '89. So,
yeah, and talk about you guys playing Decatur at UMES, where you eventually go, and we'll get to that, and I win as well. But talk about playing Decatur. Now they played a triangle and 2 on you and Wills. So to try to limit y'all, and they did to some degree. But talk about it. You talked about it a little bit, Michael Guy, about his contribution as a freshman. He was a freshman, came in and knocked down 2 of the clutchest free throws as a freshman in a hostile environment. Talk a little bit about what you remember about that game against Decatur.
Man, he saved us. We was going home. He saved us, man. Again, that triangle 2 was effective. We hadn't seen that all year. In grade 12, we've never seen that triangle 2. And they really couldn't do it our 11th grade year. We just had too many weapons. They couldn't.
Nah.
They figured, and they did the scouting report. They did the scouting report. They said, we gonna let Gibson get whatever he get. But we maintain, me and Wills, we averaged over 20 a game. So
right.
We was the primary offense, so they made us work, man. And they had the guy. It's one thing you could try it, but if you don't have the personnel to do it, it doesn't matter. And they had the personnel.
Right.
Those guys stick to us, and I'm gonna tell you, we didn't have an answer for it because we were just trying to run like screens, run off it. Like we had no offense for that, because we weren't prepared. Right. They caught us totally off guard, and I mean that come down to the coaching or whatever. but we just trying to figure. So we just trying to run off of each other and run them baseline, and hopefully, you know, we can get a switch or whatever. But they wouldn't switch. Like they fought through it. Like they were on us. Like stink on, you know what? Like Michael came in and opened it up. He gave us that scoring that we needed, that punch that we needed. He hit a couple of times, and like you say, hit them free throws. Ninth grade, freshman, big hostile environment. Came through. He came through.
Yeah. It was dope. Yeah, he finished with 13 in the game. Y'all were down by as many as 14 and came back and won. So it definitely was was dope. And yeah, that triangle too. Mel Morgan ran that me and Kevy sophomore year, the second time we played him, and we didn't have an answer. Like you say, you just never seen nothing like that, you know. So yeah, but so you guys beat Decatur, and then you backface another familiar foe, which is Snow Hill. So talk about that. I mean, you know, they end up beat y'all 100 to 87. Obviously, Sharon Mills, he didn't have, Big West to go against. Pretty much did what he wanted. You had a big game. I mean, you and Wills both went out as you should with 30 and 27 respectively. But talk about the game against Snow Hill if you remember anything about that loss.
Man, I'm getting my charger real quick. My phone died.
You good, bro. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Shoot, I gotta say, oh, here we go. See a little.
Wow, tough. Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was even though they beat us during the regular season, they beat us in the
Christmas tournament.
Christmas tournament, yeah. So even with that, we still felt like we can get these cats, and it just, we had no answer for Sharon, man. We had no answer for Sharon. That's what it boiled down to. And shout out to Nick, man. I'm gonna tell you, Nick Purnell. I don't know if he's still on the call or not. I mean, on the joint, man. But Nick, he ran the show. He was a point guard, and him, Sean Johnson, Richard Milborn, they had a deep team, man. They had a deep team. But Sharon was, when I see Tim Duncan, that's who Sharon always remind me of.
Fundamental.
Fundamentally sound. Not the most athletic guy, but nice mid-range, kiss off the glass, footwork up and under, like Sharon. And that's what killed us, the big men, because as I say, I keep going back to West, going back to the reason why we lost to Snow Hill was because of Sharon. The reason why we lost to North Carolina was because of Jeff Chambers. We had no answer for it. And when we had West, they couldn't do nothing with West. You know what I'm saying? So when we the two teams, our two nemesis, had two of the best big men, not probably two of the best big men ever, on the shore. So it just hurt us. It hurt us, man.
Yeah. And I'm glad you talked about the bigs, because again, Russ Sports Fan Podcast here with DonniOh Phoenix. We ain't gonna trouble y'all for too much longer, but the conversation is good. I know we run along tonight. I'm just gonna give a few more minutes of DonniOh time. I asked him before this how long we got, so I got a couple more things. I promise.
Good,
I promise we'll get you up off it. but listen, you remember like a couple months back, it probably was even longer than that, when I was doing research, I came across the All-Star game. Please talk about this All-Star game, which I didn't know until doing some further research, that you guys as the North, it was the first time that the North beat the South. And going into it, all you heard about was, Jeff against Sharon, because Jeff Chambers, he wanted Sharon, he wanted that matchup. He talked about it, and they battled. Sharon Mills had 35, Jeff had 22 and 18, but the one that sold the show, the late great Tyrone Travis, had 35 in that game. And you had some pretty dish to him, a nice couple oops that you threw and stuff. Talk about just how fun that game was, and just about the big man matchup in that game.
Man, let me tell you, going into it, our practices it was just crazy, you know.
I bet, man.
But the thing, man, like we had, and at that time, you know, we had, you know, obviously, you know, Sharon was on, you know, on the South, and you know, they had the other guys in the South, you know, Richard Milborn again, from Snow Hill, but we talked about me and Tyrone, and Tyrone kept saying, you know, in practice, you know, I'm throwing alley after alley. He's like, yo, if you came to groove, we could have been doing this all year, son. That's all he said. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm like, y'all didn't need me. Y'all won a championship. You didn't need me. He said, yeah, but it's been with you. You know what I mean? So respect, man. But yeah, just you know, we had some 2 years, well, actually 3 years with um, Jeff. You know, from 10th grade going up to varsity, playing them in the regional finals and losing to them, and then you know sweeping them in my junior year, and then them sweeping us in my senior year. So we had some battles, you know, and we became really cool. Again, off the you know 5-star camp, you know, we became really close, and then of course, you know, with Tyrone the same thing, and then you know Wills that was my right hand right there. So playing with all those guys and knowing the tension and the mouth going back and forth, you got to understand too, Mr. Hayward, you know, he was our coach at Easton, but he lived in Salisbury. So he will always have the messages from teams down south. What they gonna do to Easton, you know what I'm saying? So, messages, you know. And so we got the messages for the All-Star game, same thing, what they gonna do to us, you know. So we were extra motivated anyway. And the All-Star game was in Cambridge that year, because it was normally but that year was in Cambridge, you know. And man, listen, I played point, you know, that game, obviously. But man, it was like a kid in a candy shop. Like I had so many, I can't tell you, like in practice it was crazy, but then in the game, you know, with the crowd there and this everything, there's not many games that can live up to the hype going into it.
It lived up to it, plus more.
Beyond the hype of the game, because even like doing the layup line, you know, that's when everybody was doing their dunks. You know, I'm pulling my dunks. Cats didn't even know I could dunk. You know, I'm every now and then. You know what I mean? I ain't had no hops like that, but I might give you one. You know, so I even gave him one. But yeah, so it was just crazy, man. So once the game started, I mean, from the time the whistle, boom, I mean, we straight out going at it, you know. Sharon and you know, Jeff, you know, they battling, dunking on each other, and you know, it was everything. You wanted big men, you had it. You wanted guard play, you had it. You wanted shooting, you had it. Everything was there, man. Everything was there. Everything was there. It was incredible, man. And to do it, and it was extra special too, to do it up north, you know, up here with people. And man, I had, matter of fact, I had Barry on I don't know if he on here or not, but he told me, he said, man, he told me this years later. He said, man, that behind the back pass you did the Tyrone for the
going out of bounds. Going out of bounds. Yeah.
He said, yo, that was crazy. And I did a joint. Again, I was doing stuff nobody was doing. I did the behind the back fake pass, like I would go behind my back and pass it, but I bring it back. So I did, and then I threw it back behind my neck to Wills, and he laid it in long finger, laid that joint. I mean, it was just, that was the time where I pulled out all my little tricks that I would do. Like if we were up by like 15, 20 points, I might pull something out. I was pulling them out all game, like all game. I was getting all kind of stuff, you know, the and one and all that stuff. Like that was, I was already doing that stuff, man. I was already doing that.
That's crazy. Yeah, they say you put on a show, man. They say you put on a show. And before we move, and when you say, because we weren't there, obviously, when you say cats were getting dunked on, it wasn't no, they were getting dunked on. Like I read it, Sharon dunking on Jeff dunking on him, Tyrone dunking on Sharon. I mean, it was real.
I'm talking about, it wasn't no little baby dunk. I mean, I'm talking about
right,
like straight in your grip, because you know they go to the contest. You know what
Yeah,
I'm saying?
yeah.
So I mean, they going up trying to, like that. And it's like, yo, you
Woo.
got to bring it. And I mean, it was so like, it was 3 times, yo, where they had to stop the game because people ran on the court and they had to stop. And the last time they did it is when when Jeff dunked on Sharon and Jeff pushed him.
Mm,
And
mm,
and then because everybody thought it was gonna be a fight then, but Sharon ain't that type
mm.
of cat, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He tapped Jeff on the butt, like, good one, you got me. Because Sharon got him
Mm-hmm.
early, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
that's all Jeff wanted is to dunk on him one time. He got him. But man, it was like
Yeah.
that joint right there, they stopped it and like for about 5 minutes because it was just the crazy buzz. Like that was the greatest game I've ever played in. Like I played in
Wow.
that
Wow.
was the greatest game ever as far as energy,
Wow.
anticipation, and living up to that anticipation, man. That was
All
the
right.
great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, that's dope. That's dope, man. Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing. So you wrap up the All-Star game, wrap up your senior year. Like I said, make first team all base side along with Wills, along with Wayne Wilson, Jeff Chambers Player of the Year. Talk about your decision to pick UMES. I know you had a few other schools that you could have went to. But talk. You can name the schools and just talk about your options and why you decided to choose UMES.
Well, going into my senior year, I had a conversation with Cole. Like I told you, he had that bag. He said, I got a bag of letters for you.
Mm-hmm.
So he started showing me the letters and whatever. St. John, Syracuse, Michigan, Penn State. Those are like the bigger schools. I had like Florida and Florida A&M, some MEAC schools, mid majors. It was a lot of schools.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted North Carolina. I wanted North Carolina in that bag. I was still salty about that. But yeah, so I'm like going into, and this is another thing too. I tell kids, man, please take your academics seriously. I don't care how great you are on the court, and not when like there was an opportunity for me to take the SAT early, and I didn't. You know what I'm saying? I said I'll wait, whatever, not knowing that like Jeff had already picked James Madison before the season started.
Yeah, for a Saints start. Yep.
Yeah, and same with Tyrone. He already picked Radford before, and then
Mm-hmm.
mind you, both of them had the same schools I had because a lot of them seen us at 5-star. That's what we got our looks at,
Mm-hmm.
So you got
Yeah.
mine. At that time, there was no AAU, so we
Right.
went to 5-star and we played great, and they followed us through our senior years. We had great senior years, so the interest continued. However, me not knowing the process of it, and I ain't gonna say I didn't know. It was just me being bullheaded and thinking I know it all. But coach told me, take it your SAT before the season starts. Well, I'm like, well, they have
Mm-hmm.
one. It's like they have one in January. It's like you don't want to wait until January, son.
Got
You
you.
want to have the school chosen by January,
All
And
right.
I'm like, man, whatever, thinking I know it all. And so I missed the first one. So during that time, I'm not real, because I'm thinking I got until the end of the year to make a
Yeah.
decision where I really don't because those top schools going to already have their recruits.
Yep.
Now looking back at it now, but
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that until going through that process. I'm like, wow, I missed out on a lot because I didn't take my SAT. My
Mm-hmm.
GPA was up, but I hadn't taken my SAT, and that was huge because I had to have at least a 750. To not be
Mm-hmm.
a 48 and not miss, my yeah. Some schools will take you even though you don't have the 750, but most schools are shut away. Then you have to go,
Yeah.
and that's what happened with Wayne and West. That's why they ended up not going to Temple. But
Mm-hmm.
so as time went on, we had a conversation. It was at the North Dorchester game, matter of fact, and Coach said, he pulled me to after the game before we get on the bus. He said, what are you gonna do, son? What are you gonna do, son? And I was like, what do you mean? He said, for our school, he said, we got to make a decision. Now, this time, I think I had already taken the SAT. I want to say I had already taken it.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, he asked me what I wanted to do. And so again, my mind was stuck on St. John's or Syracuse. And they showed interest or whatever. He said,
Uh-huh.
I don't want you going there. He said, because I don't want you to get lost in the sauce. I never forget him saying that lost in the sauce, you know. Like, what do you mean?
Huh.
He's like, I don't want you to go there and be stuck on the bench for 2 years and don't play until your third, fourth year. And so in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna go there and I'm gonna start. You know, that's just my confidence. You know, not knowing the reality of it was probably what he said. You know what I'm saying? So as I began to think, and then I can't remember. I think Dave Edwards. I think it was Edwards. His last name was Edwards. Ended up going to Syracuse. Syracuse. I think Eric Barkley ended up going to St. John. Anyway, they ended up getting their point guard before I even had taken my SAT.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so it was kind of like that was out of the picture. And then I don't even remember about Michigan, but you know, Coach really wanted me to go to Penn State because to carry on that tradition with Bruce. You know, Bruce Blake went to Penn State.
Yeah.
He wanted me to go there, or Rutgers. Rutgers was another school that was really on me. And again, those schools are pretty, you know, not local, but close enough you could drive. You know,
closer. True.
It's out there a little bit, but still, you know, it ain't cross country. You know what I mean?
Right.
So those are schools that he wanted, and I was really Boston College was a school that I really liked. South Carolina too. I went to visit South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
And so that was another school that I liked. They showed crazy interest, and once I got there, you know, it was like that was a matter of fact. That was a school. That was the first time I had flown in my life.
Okay. Oh wow. Yeah.
Yep. And I got there, and I just didn't feel comfortable at all. I'm like, these dudes on this team.
Not for me.
They you know me, I'm into hip hop and all that, and I'm
yeah.
They weren't. I mean, they were different. They were different breed. So it's just like I'm looking at that, and then the coaching staff, you know, I'm like, nah, this ain't a good fit for me. So I already knew, like halfway. Well, I was there for like 2 or 3 days. You know, we played against one another, and then we played against they had new guys, and some of the guys were already there playing against like starters and all that. And I wasn't even into none of that game. Like I couldn't even get into it because I'm like, I'm ready to go home. You know what I'm saying? That's how that.
Yeah.
So once I went home, that's when I was like, okay, Boston College was really on my radar. Like that's where I was between them and Boston College,
that's what I thought.
And Fordham, and New York.
Fordham.
Yeah, those were the two schools I was really like zoning in on. Like I said, and University of Delaware was always kind of there because they was first to give me love. You know what I'm saying? So always in the mix, and I kind of built a little kinship with the coach there too. He called me all the time, man. And UMES came in like at the last, like I ain't think about no UMES. Like we played there in the playoff, you know, the regional finals and all that, and you know, great atmosphere for college, loud in there and all that. But I'm like, I ain't
right.
Yes. And the coaches, they wanted to talk to me. And now, mind you, this is all the way into we're all the way into May now, and I still haven't made a decision. You know, and you know, coach was like, "Yo, you got to do something, man," because I'm still like broken between them, and Boston College still, you know, dialoguing with me, and it really came down to them and Rutgers, you know, and then like I said, UMES came in last second and they invited me to Springfest, which anybody bringing Springfest to UMES is like,
yes, sir. I've been there.
You know, like the TV show, A Different World. Like it is.
Yeah, it's different.
Like it's how it is always on campus, right? You know what I'm saying? Yep. So I go there. He sold me on. First of all, and I'm way ahead of my time because I was wearing the African medallions. I was into the Black Power thing and all that. But he sold me on the HBCU thing. He sold me on putting UMES on the basketball map. And I can help do that being a homegrown guy. You know, I was the only player from the shore on there. And he even said that we'll have a scrimmage, a maroon and gray scrimmage, and we'll have the scrimmage at Easton High School to generate interest, you know, and they got teams, you know, fans followed you through high school. You can bring them down to UMES and follow you and all that. So when we
painted a good picture.
Yeah, oh, he painted it, man. Painted it like Picasso, baby. You know, and we played that game. We did, and just like you said, going into my freshman year, we played that game at Easton High School, maroon versus gray. Joint was packed out like it was Easton and Cambridge. It was crazy, man. They showed mad love. It was at Channel 16, Channel 47. It was all that. So I'm like, yeah, you know. Not knowing, man, I you know, once I get there, you know, I would have 3 coaches in 3 years. You know, it was like a carousel of coaches because my second year there, Coach Hopkins, I gotta say I had 2 Hall of Fame type coaches, man. I mean, as far as their accomplishments, what they've done, I had Coach Hopkins who he coached at Grambling, but he came to UMES with some he had some allegations on him with some things that happened at Grambling, so that put us on probation. So
okay.
And recruit and yeah, it was crazy. So it put a little hamper on the program. That was my second year. My first year was Coach Steve Williams. That's who recruited me. He and Darnell Myers. Darnell Myers, who he had been following me since 10th grade when he was at UMBC. He followed me from basketball camp at University of Maryland basketball camp. So he knew me from there. So he was on the staff at UMBS, and he was also on the coaching staff at Georgetown when they won the championship in '84. Coaching staff with Coach John Thompson, rest in peace. So yeah, so all that, the pedigree and all that. So I'm like, okay, let's make this happen. Yeah, UMBS on the map, you know. And that was my motivation, and you know, I look back at it so many times. I look back, I'm like, man, what if I had went to Boston College? How would it have been different, you know? But then at the same time, I did that for you. I beat myself up about it for years. But then, you know, I look back at it, man, like I developed some great relationships and friendships at UMES. Friends that I still have to this day. Simon Edwards, my roommate, and backcourt teammate.
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah, man. We ran things at UMS, man. Mike Harris, again, another cat, man. Mike Harris, he started Kobe Bryant's fan club back in '96. Mike Harris's first cousin is Mike McCurry from Boys to Men, and so Mike, that's who had Theo Ratliff. He represented Theo Ratliff, who's the manager for him. He managed Terrell Owens. So he managed NBA and NFL players, still does to this day. Andre Iguodala. You name it, man. He had so many cats. Catino Mobley, Rasheed Wallace, Cassell. He had a lot of cats, man. So that was my teammate for the rest. Some great guys, man, and still friends with them to this day. And
that's it.
Man, I look back at it. At first, I used to beat myself up about it, just because of the way things finished that year.
Yeah, that's natural.
Yeah. You know, I had a great freshman campaign, made all freshman MEAC team. Was 17 for 3-pointers, 3-point, and top 10 to 3-point percentage. Was a male athlete of the year at the UMES. At the end of the day, man, it was what it was, and I wouldn't change it. Wouldn't change it for long. I beat myself up about it, but I'm like, man, you know, it's what it was supposed to be. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we all do that with certain decisions. We look back and, you know, the what ifs and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, like you said, everything happens for a reason. And like you said, those lifelong friendships you made, the impact you made on people that to this day that you don't even know about. And that's why I said also you before your time in a lot of things, because even like you had some athletes last year, some guys coming out of high school last year that was picking HBCUs over, you know, some of these other programs, and you basically did that too. I mean, you, like I said, you could have went to other schools, you know, but you picked that. So that's dope. You know what I mean? That's dope to me. And like I said, I salute you, you know, even on that, because you were ahead of your time with a lot of different things. So like you said, nothing to hold your head down about, and nothing to keep thinking about, because you did it, man. You did it. I do got to ask, because Hawk brought this up, and I'm glad he did. Can you talk a little bit about, and then I promise you, got like 2-3 more things, and we out of here. We'll get you off here before 10. I promise. When you got your McDonald's letter, Hawk wanted to know what was your reaction when you got that McDonald's letter? How did that feel?
Man, I was shocked. I know I had a great campaign. I know I had a great senior year. I had a nice little run. We had some great success, as a team. It's funny because I got pulled out of class. I was in class. Howard Dixon, he ran McDonald's at the time here in Easton. They only had one at that time, on 50. And he came into class and he asked, I seen him at the door and whispered something to the teacher, whatever. The teacher told me to come over here. I'm like, and I knew who he was. Hell,
what do you want?
He told me to come outside, and he said, hey, I have a certificate for you, and we have the Star Democrat out here in Channel 16 out here. I'm like, and 47. And I'm like, for what? And nominated for the McDonald's All-American team. And so he's explaining to me, breaking it down to me. Dog, I already know. Like, you don't gotta tell. I know what the McDonald's. I know what it's all about. He's like, yeah. He's nominated amongst the top seniors in the country, and to the top 24. And if you get nominated, you get to play on the East Coast team. So to be 12 from the East Coast and 12 from the West Coast. I don't know where they were playing at that year. Kansas somewhere. I don't know. But and keep in mind, like, I'm graduating too. Like, I'm in the class with Shaq, Kenny Anderson. Sam Cassell, Allen Houston, all those guys. All I'm thinking of, I just thought of, mind you, now I'm thinking this is off the heels of the All-Star game. And I'm like, if I get a chance to play with Shaq, it is over. You know what I'm saying?
Woo! Straight live, throwing it up. Just throw it up.
LaFonso Ellis, he was in the class too. It was a nice class, man. Tracy Murray, he was a sniper.
He was.
Yeah, it was a nice class, man. So I'm thinking, but then I got like a week later, I got a letter saying that I didn't, I wasn't selected. But just to be nominated and to be thought of.
Oh yeah, that's enough.
As a matter of fact, it was me and Tyrone Travis. He was
I seen the picture. That's dope, man. That's cool. That's definitely cool, man. So appreciate you sharing it.
And actually, Jeff Chambers played in the McDonald's. They had a Capital Classic too, where they had
he played in that
teams. Play against the national team, and Jeff played. Matter of fact, that's the game that Kurt Smith. I mentioned I played with him at 5-star, but Kurt Smith lit Kenny Anderson up in that game. He killed Kenny. The top point guard.
Right.
That's the thing too. I was looking forward to playing with him. In the finals game, because I knew he was going to be on there. I knew that was no question he was going to be on there.
Yeah.
But
so, that's dope. I was listening to him earlier. That's crazy. Yeah, thanks for sharing that, because I couldn't imagine getting that. Like you said, being nominated is enough. So I definitely appreciate you sharing that. And like you said, thanks for touching on UMES. Me and you had a conversation earlier, and I'm glad you brought it to my attention. Is that I tell people all the time, we watching NBA or people playing at a high level, any type of pro, and they be like, oh man, he suck or he this. And I always say, man, I said, listen, he don't suck. I said, I don't care if he don't get in at all, but he in the NBA or he don't suck. That's one thing he don't. So talk about your experience. Like you said, you played in the NBA Summer Pro League in '93, played in the ABA and the USBL. Let's talk about your experience with that, whatever you want to share, competition level, just a little bit about that.
Yeah. Well, with the ABA and the ABA, what led to all that was me getting invited to. They had like a free agent tryout in Atlanta, and actually, I don't know if Simon's still on the call. Simon played Simon played in they had the NBA at that time. Now, you see the NBA summer leagues on TV, and you see
Right.
that
Right.
deal. But this was before it became
All that.
and what it is now.
Yeah, yeah.
But they had one in LA and they had one in Atlanta. And Simon, who's my roommate, my teammate at UMES, he played in the joint in LA. He played with the Indiana Pacers and he played with the Clippers, I think. Yeah, he played with the Clippers in Indiana. Simon, if you want to call, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm sure that those are two teams he played with. He played a couple years. I only played 1 year. I think he played like 2 years.
Okay.
I played in Atlanta. I played with the Atlanta Hawks. And well, first I went down there and they had an open tryout.
Over trial.
Yeah. So I played with the Hawks, and I put in work, and I thought.
What did the trial consist of?
Well, it's actually more like a combine, really. It was more like a combine because they did everything, man. You played, but you did more. It is rare. And just real quick, what we did, the family. My mom said, "Listen, it's very rare that we get to go anywhere as a family." So what we did, we went a week early, and my mom's, my pops, my brother, we all went down there, and we went to Orlando a week early.
Okay.
And then on the way back up, and then we went to Atlanta.
That's cool. Yeah.
And so it was there the second week. That's when we went. It was like a week and a half or something like that. But the first couple of days more like a combine. So, like you see those NBA combines and stuff, like that's what we were doing. And they were doing your measurement, doing your wingspan, your vertical, and all that. We doing sprints. They doing your 40-yard dash, and all that, lifting the weights and how much you can lift. So like maybe the first day, I don't even think we touched the ball the first day. I don't even think second day. I don't think it was the third day until we started actually playing, because it was the third day, because then the second day we were doing drills and all that stuff. Then we were doing like 1-on-1, 3-on-3. We were doing 1-on-1 full court. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So one thing for me, at that time, I'm again, this is '93, so it is the summertime, so I really wasn't hooping like I when I knew I had to go down there, then I tried to hurry up and do some type of cardio and all that.
Try to do a little something. Yeah.
Once you get there, you know what I'm saying? And usually there's new legs, like best game legs. You know what I'm saying? You can do
it's different.
Everything you away from the court, but it's nothing like being on the court, And I found that out the hard way, with the quickness, and then at the level of the guys that I was playing against too. So, and I thought that, okay, as far as the combine, I don't think I did too well. But once we started balling, we never lift no weights and stuff. We never had.
Yeah, we didn't do that.
Yeah, we didn't even do that at We did it at UMES, but it was kind of like we had a scheduled time to do weights, but it wasn't like mandatory.
Mandatory.
I was like Morris, he was a diesel dude. He did it because he loved lift weights. Marlon Kimbrough, we had another guy on there. We had a few guys that was just in the weightlifting, like that's what they did, regardless of basketball. But for me, like if I ain't have to do it, I wouldn't do it. I'm not a guy that's just gonna go in the weight room. I was at that time I wasn't into that. You know what I'm saying? So and so that part I wasn't right prepared for. But once we started bouncing that ball, that's when I shined. So I did my thing.
Right.
Made it, and I put in work. Not enough to make the team. I thought that I did, but obviously I didn't. Another thing too that I found too, and mind you, this was a free agent camp, but cats had agents. You know what I'm saying? You just want
Yeah.
I didn't have an agent. I didn't have anybody represent me. So, and just yeah. Now, just so happened it was a guy who was talking to my parents on the side, and they was asking about me, where I'm from and all that, who represent me, and they didn't understand that either. They like, represent? What do you mean? Well, who's his agent? He doesn't have an agent. Like, what do you mean? Well, they didn't understand all that.
Yeah.
He ended up representing me. He's from Ohio. He ended up representing me, and I didn't make the Atlanta team, but he got me a tryout in the CBA with the Columbus Horizon. That.
Okay.
Yeah. So I stayed with him for like a week out there, and I went out there. I didn't make the team, but from that, it was a coach there that said, there's a league in your area. It's called the Atlantic Basketball Association. They had the closest team to you is in Pennsylvania had a couple of teams. Pennsylvania, New Jersey had a couple, and he said, you might want to look into there. He said, because you can definitely go into that league. And so I went and I tried out and I made the team. I played with the Scranton. Well, actually, it was the Lehigh Valley Lightning, but they played in Scranton, PA. Because Scranton is on the border of PA and
yeah.
So I played there, and then it was a weekend league. So I played in that league. I play there for 2 years, and you get played per game. So I think it was like 300 a game, something like that. You might have 2 games a week, sometimes you might have 1 game. So it wasn't enough to live off of. You still had to work, you know what I'm saying? So I got frustrated with that, and I didn't move up there. I was driving back and forth. I got frustrated. This is 94. Mind you, at that time, I'm juggling a lot of things, man, because I'm finishing up. I went to Columbia School of Broadcasting. So I'm juggling that. That was like 95. And in 95, I opened up Flavors with me and Brother Mike. Shout out to Brother Mike. But yeah, so we opened up Flavors. So after we 94, 95. So then I stopped playing after we opened up the store. And then in 99, Kelly Gibson, shout out to Kelly Gibson, man. She came.
Yeah, most definitely.
At that time, I'm playing ball, but I'm just playing like in little local leagues. I ain't really at that time, like really UMES, that situation at UMES took a lot of the love that I had for the game. I lost a lot of the love doing, that experience there. That's why I had a little disdain for a while about that situation because, but between the instability of the coaching, the culture didn't change that I thought was going to change, and the other choices that I had that I passed on to go there and got sold something that didn't manifest itself. And then for me, I didn't do the work that I should have did either. I didn't put in what I should have put in as well. So all that together just left a bad taste in my mouth for basketball. I'm gonna tell you, man, for like 3 or 4 years, I ain't watched no ball. I didn't play ball. I hated it. I ain't even want to deal with basketball. Yeah, it was like that, it was like a scorned relationship, man. Like I don't want to see her no more,
Yeah. I'm done with her. Don't.
And anybody know me? Know I love the game basketball, but that's just how bad that experience was for me. But then like I said, and then in 99, by then, I had the store. I'm focused on that. And also I was in radio too. So I was on a radio station in Cambridge, 96.3. 106.3 in Cambridge. So I'm doing my 2 loves, you know what I mean? Because I love fashion. I love that element. Mind you, at the time, I'm only 24 years old. I never really thought about that until I look back at it. But I opened up that store at 24 years old. Really,
that's huge, man.
Not really knowing the game, not knowing like finances and banking. I love fashion. I love clothes. I got the connects in New York. I got family in New York. I connects from. So that's where I'm looking at the hustling aspect of it, but not knowing the business side of it. So I had to learn through trial and error about that. About credit and all that. I ain't know anything about any of that. I had to learn that on the fly. So again, with all that going on, and then in 99, Kelly Gibson, I think at that time, I want to say I think she was with the Comets, or she just stopped playing with the in 99.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I think she was might have still one.
Yeah, she had a friend who coached with the Long Island Surf in the USBL. And mind you, in the USBL, they played in the spring and the summertime, she said, I got a friend who coaches one of the USBL teams, and they're having an open tryout in Delaware. They were having it in Wilmington. And I told them about you, like they need some guards. And mind you, this is mid-season. You know what I'm saying? This is mid-season.
Yeah.
I haven't been playing ball, man. I ain't been playing no ball. I'm focused on the store. I might play a little bit of wide, whatever,
Yeah, but not serious. Yeah.
Right. And so she was like, if you're interested, I tell them that I'm like, well, when is the trial? She was like, next Saturday. I'm like, what? I'm like, it's more like a workout type thing, and I'm like, man. And then again, at that time, I didn't have the love for it, but then I thought, at that time, still, I'm only 27. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go. This might be the opportunity. This might be the time.
That's right.
Go there, I'll make the squad. I get on the team. I played, I don't know, first couple games I ain't play. I might have played like four games maybe. Like I said, it was it was middle of the season. I might have played like 4 games, whatever. Obviously, I didn't move there. I was driving back and forth. Shout brother Mike, man. He held the store down and everything while I was doing that. And after that, I'm like, I'm done chasing, man. I'm done. It's over. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't do it. Again, because I still didn't have that. One thing I learned, man, that for the game, and me and you and I talked about it earlier. Guys who are on the 15th guy on the roster are very, very, very good players, and there's different levels. Yeah, you got LeBron and you got KD and all that, and then you got your Bills and them, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You got KCPs and you go on, and even those guys are supreme, only just supreme athletes, because you don't understand like the sacrifices you have to make to stay in shape. And you gotta stay in shape year round, the diet regimen, nutrition and the physical fitness and now you got these personal trainers. We didn't have none of that back then. That's why I hate the comparison. People compare Jordan and saying Jordan and Jordan didn't have.
Can't compare the errors.
He didn't have everything these guys. If Jordan had the access and all this stuff that they have today back then, imagine how much greater he would be. You know what I'm saying?
That's scary, man.
But listen, anybody that had a pair of Jordans know them joints are heavy. Them joints are not the most comfortable shoes. They're better now. But back then, them joints were like boots, like space boots, man. Jordan was dumping from the foul line and them joints with the shorts, uncomfortable, creeping up you every 5. You got to keep pulling them. Long shorts. He started that, because the little kids are too uncomfortable. It's like wearing boxers on the court. You know what I mean? So, but just to understand, like, what goes into being a professional athlete, the sacrifices you have to make on a daily, all year round. I think that goes, I think a lot of people underestimate that, and they just look at, I'm gonna tell you, even like a cat like Rondo, we'll say him, oh, Rondo can't shoot. He can shoot. I guarantee
he can shoot. Yeah.
I guarantee you in practice, he'll make 40 or 50 jumpers in a row.
Yeah, but I agree.
See, but this is something POV always talk about, and Andre Collins talks about this a lot too. Talk about muscle memory. See, some of these cats don't have the same muscle memory as a Steve Curry or a Ray Allen, because what it is repetition, and your body, your muscles just get used to, when I catch that ball, I'm shooting a certain way, and the same stroke, the same motion, So a guy like Rondo may not have that. That he may be lacking in that muscle memory department, but what he lacks in that, he has it in the intellect. He has a high IQ, where he knows how to run a team. He knows how to be a leader. You know what I'm saying? So everybody don't have the total package. I'm gonna tell you, the one guy, a lot of people may not, whatever, but the one guy I felt that has the total package, I think the greatest to have the total package is LeBron James. As far as leader, like the IQ, when I say the total package, I'm talking the physicality. He's 6'8", 250 pounds, nothing but muscle, supremely athletic, and jump out the gym 40 plus inch vertical. He has an IQ of, he's like a point guard, always been like that, make the right decisions, you know what I'm saying? Only thing he's missing is that dog in him or whatever. That's probably the only thing that's missing. But like the skill set, like he's everything. He's Karl Malone, Magic Johnson, Michael Jordan, all wrapped into one.
Yeah,
Crazy,
man, you said it.
Physically.
Yeah, you said it right there. That's good. Yeah, physically, yeah.
If he had the mental makeup of a Kobe, he'll win every year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. You're right. That's all. That's all it needs. Just that right there. I think that mental messes him up a little bit on the foul line too. I think that's why he struggles with the free throws, not mechanics. He's been around great free throw shooters, Ray Allen, Kyle Korver. I think it's just mentally, you know what I mean, with him at the foul line.
And I watch him. He'll pull away from the shot before he don't follow it all the way through. Like
True.
Back.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And again, it's in his head. He's thinking too much. The muscle memory instead of just going up there and just stroking it. You know, and the same thing with the jumpers. You know what I mean? Because LeBron could go on a streak of hitting, looking good from three, and looking, that little slow back there. He'd be but then he'll go where he bricking and he ain't hitting nothing. You know what I'm saying? So again, it's that memory, and it's that being rep the same, having the same reps with your shot, the same follow through, the same everything. That in itself is tough because you can do that in practice all day. I guarantee you, Melo, all them guys are practice, shoot 50, 60 shots in a row, knocking them down.
Yeah.
But in the game, it's different. You know, you got the crowd, you got all the different intangibles that go along with it. So, and again, John Thompson said this a long time ago, man. He said, the game is 90% mental, 10% physical. And that's part of the physical aspect of it. You gotta handle all that, whatever it is out there, block it out and just focus. That's why I say Michael Jordan is the greatest ever, because mentally he was the strongest mentally. He was Mike Tyson did when he was fighting in his prime.
Yeah.
Like, you beat already before you even get the game. You beat. You know what I mean? You beat in the ring before you get the game. And that's how Jordan was, man. And Jordan talked trash to you. I mean, I remember one day, and we're getting off topic a little bit, but they were playing the Lakers, and Byron Scott would always guard Jordan, and Byron Scott was hurt, and he said to Byron Scott before the game, he said, "Hey, bro, you're not playing?" He said, "Nah." He said, "Well, who guarding me?" He pointed to Terry Teagle. He said, "Oh," he said, "That's 50 tonight." I think he got like 55 or something like that. You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Jordan,
Larry Bird was the same way.
Look, Bird, game, Bird played Portland. Now, mind you, this is Portland with the Hall of Fame, Clyde Drexler.
Terry Porter.
They had Terry Porter, Kevin Duckworth, Rick Robinson. So it wasn't a fun game. Bird said, "This game getting boring to me. Every time I get in the paint, I'm shooting my left hand."
Left hand shot. Yeah. That's crazy, man.
He had like 20. He had like 30 some points or whatever, and they beat him. And it's crazy. Like, these guys did things like Jordan would make up stuff in his head to give himself extra motivation.
They
had to do that because the game came so easy to them cats.
Crazy. That's crazy, man. Man, I tell you, man, this conversation has been nothing short of amazing, man. I appreciate you touching on flavors and touching on a lot of the entrepreneurship you did, because like you said, you started stuff. I see people doing stuff now that you did 20 years ago, and it's dope, being able to look back. And I remember, I grew up on about 108 Glenwood Avenue, so I walked up to your store, more times remember. Yeah, didn't know who I was right at the time, but so I remember that, you know what I mean? So again, man, I appreciate you sharing. I'm gonna hit you with a couple quick hitters, man, and I'm gonna get you off here. We got 3 minutes, I promise. Your doesn't have to be what we consider the best, but your top 5 hip hop artists.
Woo! I wouldn't expect that.
Yeah, I know. I threw that. I threw that on you. I threw that little curveball on you.
I was thinking you were gonna throw me some basketball questions. Top 5.
Nah, I'm gonna throw you that first. I got basketball too. Now I want to hear hip hop. Your top 5, yours though.
Man, hip hop. My favorite, man, is Nas, man. Nas, Rakim, Big Daddy Kane, Biggie, and Grand Poobah. They're my favorite 5. Yeah. I mean,
favorite hip hop.
Yeah, KRS is right there too, man. I can't leave Chris out, man.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I thought, okay, cool. Your favorite hip hop album of all time. Your favorite.
Mecca and the Soul Brother, Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Tell you a story.
Nice. Yeah, go ahead.
Is you know, when I went to UMES, the big thing was Heavy D's brother, you know, is down there, you know, Floyd, you know, that's everybody talking. Floyd, you know, he goes to school down there, you know, so I never got to meet him, but I did meet his cousin, which happens to be Grap Lover, who lived, when we first got there, we lived in White Comical Hall. Anybody know White Comical Hall? That was like,
yeah, I know right where they. Yes, sir.
Did you go to UMES?
Yeah, I went to UMES.
Yeah, salute.
Yeah, yes, sir, baby.
Yeah, so White Comical, I don't know how it is now, but back in the day, man, it was like the project, man. So
yeah,
you know, they had the golly darn the heat.
We called it the wick.
Yeah, for sure. But I you know, I had my turntables. Well, my first year, first semester, my mom wouldn't let me take my car or my turntables down there. It wouldn't until the second. So I had my room was like, you know what I mean? It was like the music room. You know, that's when music had the speakers on the tables or whatever. And Grap lived across the hall. And Grap would be Pete Rock's. Got Pete Rock right here on the yeah. So, and which they didn't know that they were related. They first cousins with Heavy D. So Pete Rock's mom and Heavy D's mom, like they sisters. You know what I'm saying? So they like real close. So yeah. So it was kind of crazy, man. I'm like, yo, we down here not knowing that, you know, Pete Rock, little brother down here, and then of course Grap going with I, and they have their own group. Pete, Grap people, whatever. And so yeah, it was dope, man. Being there at UMES and being amongst some of those hip hop heads, and I just had to do that real quick, man. That was.
I'm glad you did. Thanks for sharing that, man. I love stories, so man, that's dope. That's dope. So yeah, I had to get my hip hop. Then I'm gonna leave with two quick hitter for basketball. Then we off of here. One of the beats
Yeah, I'm saying that Pete Rock and CL Smooth though, man. That came out in '92, and
92.
He was on that album, man. For me, you know, Pete Rock and DJ Premier, they're my favorite two producers, man. And you know, CL Smooth, it's crazy because CL Smooth, like Grand Poobah is one of my favorite. Like I say, he's my top 5, 6, whatever MCs, you know. And CL Smooth is first cousins with Grand Poobah. Their moms and sisters.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And Grand Poobah wrote a lot of the lyrics for Pete Rock because Pete Rock rhymed. He rhymed on that first album too. And all his rhymes on there, Grand Poobah wrote those rhymes for him. So that's crazy, that connection there too. And you know what I'm saying? So
wow. Yeah. That is crazy. That is, I like Premier. I enjoyed Premier's verses too with RZA. They did a verses early on. That joint was dope. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna hit you. I'm gonna hit you with these two basketball. And I'm gonna let you go. A couple of debates that people have been having lately. Best career, KG or Dirk? Who had the best career between KG and Dirk?
My goodness, man.
That's tough, ain't it? I know. I'll put you on the spot.
Oh man, I would say Dirk because he
did more with less.
He did it by himself. Not by himself. You do nothing by yourself.
Yeah.
But I mean,
I know what you mean though.
He didn't have a squad.
That championship 2011.
And he stayed with, which was rare. He stayed with one team his whole career. You know. That's true. So which is cool. Rare. He won there, and so he's seen it from beginning to end. Then another thing too that a lot of people don't understand is really hard to do, and that's something I didn't touch on earlier. Like I could have went overseas, and that's why my salute to Andre Collins. And, you know, Toot went overseas. Jeff, all these guys went overseas, man. Salute to them. Even LT when he went down to, I think he went down to America or somewhere like that, man. To do that, like I had offered, I could have went overseas, but I didn't because I didn't want to learn the language. Just didn't want, I was stuck on getting to the league. So if I have to bounce around and, you know, semi-pro leagues or whatever, I do that till I get to the league. It didn't work, but I salute them for doing that. And so say for Dirk to come from Germany and come here and learn whole new culture. Yeah, the money helps. The money helps get over all that. And probably one of the most successful foreign players ever here. And, he had a long, and then he also the position, he changed the position as a power forward. So when you see the stretch forwards and whatnot, he was one of the first to do that at a high level. You know what I'm saying? So, But I'm saying who had a better career, so I would say Dirk. But if I had to pick between the two, I'm picking KG all day.
You go KG, yeah, exactly.
My favorite power forward. If you ask me my favorite, he's my favorite power forward. Yeah, I love KG. I love KG.
That's dope. That's dope. And then the last one, point guard. Two guys I think people kind of forget about, don't get as much love anymore. Jason Kidd or Gary Payton.
Man, oh my gosh, man. Woo! I thought this was gonna be easy. Oaktown in the building.
Yeah, Oaktown, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh man, goodness gracious, boy. Oh man. Magic is my favorite point. That's who I used to motivate. Magic, I used to watch Magic. I used to take the Lakers all the time, take on VHS tape. And I would watch Laker games and watch Magic. I even made my own Magic highlight VHS tape. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I would always watch him before the game. So Magic was my favorite. Jason Kidd, during his time, he was probably like one of the closest cats to Magic as far as distributing the ball, passing. I remember he came to Slam Dunk at the beach in Delaware when he was a senior.
Oh.
Yeah, and everybody was talking about this kid from California, Jason Kidd. They kept saying he's baby Magic because like 6'5" point guard, can do it all, And he was, nobody was Magic, but as far as the passing skills and running the team, he was close to it.
Yeah.
I would have to say I have to go with Jason Kidd because of that, man.
Cool.
And Gary Payton, man, I love Gary Payton. But he was the glove, you know what I'm saying? But
he's the glove,
Like overall game and who would I like to be my leader? It would be Jason Kidd.
That's real. I appreciate that, man. Appreciate it. I just had to throw that at the end, little surprise right there. I just want to throw that in, man. But man, it was dope, man. Again, man, DonniOh, man, I appreciate it. Like I said, man, I kept you 3 hours, man, and it didn't even feel like it to me. I hope it didn't feel like it to you. Because we could have talked another 2 hours, you know what I mean? Yeah, man. So again, man, this is just me again, man, giving you flowers now, man, while you can still sell them, man. Telling you, man, I appreciate you. We appreciate you. We see you out here, the moves you're still making and things you've done, not just in the past, but even now, man. So again, I want to say I appreciate you coming on here, man. And anything else you want to say before we get off here?
Yeah, man. Going to and I see a lot of young cats, man, doing their thing, man. I always try to I know a lot of times I don't get to reach out to cats, I don't get to rap to cats. I'm not around a lot, out because I'm doing what I'm trying to do, and family and kids and grandkids now, and I'm still trying to put things in and different things that I'm doing, But I just please, man, keep doing what you're doing, yourself included, Lance.
Appreciate it.
I love to see because we as Black men, we get a bad rap, I see what you're doing as a family man, as a husband, as a father, and I love to see that because we always get a negative light shined on us, and all that stuff, becomes always the narrative with us. We talked about the police brutality and all that. It's like like we don't have any value. Like our value is less than the white man or any other man. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm gonna say this real quick too.
Sure.
We think about this though with the Asians. They talked about getting no Asian hate. The hate crimes toward Asians, and I agree with that. But have you ever heard white folks say, "Oh, not Asian hate. How about let's get rid of all hate?" But when we say lives matter, it's all lives matter.
Yep, that's all lives matter. Yep, great point. Yep.
So I don't hear that same energy with the Asian, and not that it should be, but I'm just saying, just making a point that when it comes to us, again, our value is less than any other race of people. And
yes, it is.
In the eyes of, those who are running this thing. Let's not get it twisted. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
But
for sure.
It's also lowered in our DNA too for one another. And this goes to what we saw earlier with Kyrie and Dennis Schroeder.
Yep.
Who, they had to say the N-word or whatever.
Yeah, with the N-word. Yep.
Yeah, Kyrie was like, oh, don't call me that. You know what I'm saying? But I know I've used that word. I don't use it anymore.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
But I used to use it all the time when we address one another. You know what I'm saying? But think about it. That's a word that people say, that's a word, a term of endearment. We're bigging up. But it's not always the case, because there's times
not.
And it depends on the context of it, because you could be saying, yo, when I see that, I'm a that up. You know what I'm saying? So it's not being used as a term of endearment. That, you know what I'm saying? So,
right.
I think, and we don't use that word when we're at our higher self, like when if we're in a room amongst our homies, we will say, me crazy, all that, whatever. We're in a professional setting, or we're in a situation where business is being done, whether it was black or whatever, we don't use that term, so why do, and it said, oh, what's different if you take the A, you use the A and take the ER off? No, it's not.
Yeah.
When I say most of us black folks, when we say, like, when I say brother, I say brother with the A. I rarely use a word
brother with an ER. Yeah.
Another brother, the weather, you know what I'm saying? So, we said nigga, you know what I'm saying? So, whether it's the or the the base of it is still the same, because you said, oh, we do it to take away the sting of it. But if a white person says it, what? There's no sting taken away. So, you know what I'm saying? So, just saying, just, I don't know. I ain't even mean to go there with that,
Nah, you good. You good. Need to be said. You good. You say whatever you supposed to say. Yeah.
But I think, man, I think that us as a people, man, we really need to value ourselves more, and not to say don't worry about what the next man, how they feel, whatever, because they're gonna feel what they feel. You know what I mean? But we got to do it for one another, to uplift one another, and then make that generational, because we've had too many generational curses. So
man.
And again, that goes back to the brother X, man. You know what I'm saying? Like the dog X, man. He was dealing with a lot of generational curses, and we deal with them in different ways. Well, hopefully, prayerfully, that most people would take it to God, and he did. He came through his music. He still was fighting it, because, as you know, as a minister, when we pray to God, but the devil's listening too.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Yeah, and the devil knows our weaknesses, and he knows where we slip up at. Things will get thrown our way, to trip us up. So we got to be cognizant of that, and be in tune with that. That's why we got to have a relationship with God. I don't mean to get all spiritual and stuff, man, but I'm just saying, man.
Nah, you good. You good, my brother.
We got to step it up, man. And seeing guys like yourself and so many other brothers, man. What's the brother? And then they got the store.
Teray Warner.
Teray,
Not a phase. Boo.
Man, and here I go naming names because I don't want to forget nobody, but Hawk thing. Terrence Bailey, what he's doing with the mural on the hill for Frederick Douglass. Ill Kid, man.
Man, dope.
Yeah, that I see this doing that thing, man. I salute him, man. Andre Collins, again, I see what he's doing down in Chrisfield. It's a beautiful thing.
I'll be doing. He'll be on next week, Andre.
Word, dope. Yeah, he played with I think he played against Darrell, and he around that age range.
Their age.
Yeah, because his brother Andy played against Joel. They beat them in '97. I think they go across the bridge down in UMS. They beat Chris. By 1 or 2 or something like that.
That was that crazy game, the referees and all that.
Oh man, that game was
Yeah, I know.
yeah,
I'm gonna talk to Andre about that next week.
crazy. But yeah, man, I salute you, man. I salute your show, man. What you doing, man? Like I told you earlier, continue doing what you're doing. I just want to continue to do what I'm doing. I'm doing, with the radio show. I got my radio station. I got 2 radio stations. Now an executive producer with Collective Records. Shout out to Kyle
Oh,
West.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, congrats. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it, brother. Yeah. Kyle West is Grammy. He won several Grammys, sold over 30 million records as a producer. Production for Bobby Brown, Jill Scott, Mariah Carey, LL, Heavy D, Tevin Campbell. I mean, so many. But he asked me, and shout out to J-Mo too, man.
J-Mo, most definitely.
Yeah. But he asked us to come on board, man. First is like A&R's, man, to bring talent to the label, and then he just to be, executive producers over this project that we're working on now. I never thought it would. I DJ'd, I did mixtapes, I did all that stuff back in the day. Personality, but I never thought I would be like in the record industry.
Right.
Just because I know how shady it is, I know how corrupt it can be. But this was an opportunity, man, that I couldn't pass up. And it was an opportunity for us to kind of bring back some of that good music, that real music that we grew up on.
Yeah, that real music. Yeah.
Be in hip hop, you know what I'm saying? So it was an opportunity to have hands-on project. Again, shout out to L'Oreal Lewis. She's doing her thing too.
Yeah.
Things with her.
For sure. Shout out L'Oreal. Yeah. Did you hear SB album, McDaniel? Did you hear McDaniel? SB? No. Did you hear McDaniel? Yeah. That was crazy.
Yeah, he's gonna be on the show. I think it's May 2nd. He's gonna be on Issuers Radio, so we're gonna have him on there.
Dope.
Yeah. Shout out to see Marty on it, man. Shout out to Marty too, man. What he's doing with the team. Another salute. He went to Dell State there. I think he scored over 2,000 points at Easton, didn't
he? Yeah. Sure did.
Yeah. I remember just real quick. I talk all day.
No, you good. I could go another 2 hours too. You good.
Marty was he was playing Red Shield. This was at the Y, Red Shield basketball. And he played.
Okay.
Stevie Lewis was the coach. Stevie was like, kept talking about Marty, Lil Marty. And I knew his pops, his pops, in school, my pops in school, mom and stuff. So, I knew his pops could play because I heard the stories, about, Big Marty.
Yeah.
And, of course, Romont, Romont played over. He was at North Carolina. But, he was in Easton all the time. So he was always with, me and Gibbo, and Lamont Evans, shout out to Lamont, North Carolina too. But yeah, so he kept talking about Lil Marty, and so shoot, I finally saw him play, man. I'm like, man, he like a coach. Cerebral, you could tell
high IQ.
Yeah, high IQ. And then, Big Marty, I think at the time he was coaching JV at Easton, and then Coach Heyman was coaching varsity. But yeah, so he coached his son, you know what I mean? So they normally got that high IQ anyway. But yeah, I mean, and then watch him grow and become what he was. Matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you real quick, Marty and I actually played with Ron. We played in the league down in Snow Hill. Man, I don't know how it's been a minute. I don't know these years, man. We talking about time, the years go by so fast. Marty and I we would drive down to meet Sharon in Salisbury, and we would hop in a whip with him, and he would take us to restaurants, so we didn't have to drive all the way to Snow Hill.
Oh yeah. Right. Yeah, that's a haul. Snow Hill haul, man.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Sharon Mills, man. This after he came back from playing. He played overseas for like 10 years. Real quick one too about Sharon. He's the only player from the shore that was drafted in the NBA. He was drafted in the second round by Minnesota. And
I seen it. You put that up like it's been a while, and I stuck to my mind when you said that. Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Yeah.
He was drafted by them second round. I think like 46th or 47th or something like that. And he he went overseas because he was small. He was frail, you know what I mean? He was a little light in the kicks, you know. So they took him overseas, you know, let him bulk up a little bit over there.
Yeah.
He over there and made a good living, and he enjoyed it. And shoot, he just stayed over there, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
It was incredible time, man. We had a lot of guys, man, go from that, like I said, from 87, 88, 89, we had a lot of guys go D1.
A lot of guys.
Lamont Dale went to Texas Tech. He was at Snow Hill. He passed as well. Rest in peace to him. But yeah, shoot, like I said, myself, you know, Jeff, James Madison, Tyrone Radford, and Sean Johnson. You know, he went to UMS with me. He came there after the year. Me. So yeah, man, it's great times, man. Great times, man. Great times.
Yeah, it definitely was, and I'm glad to be able to hear it, man. What you say? What'd you say?
No, I said I had to share that Marty story. I saw his name pop up on the joint. I had to.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, he popped up on there, so I'm glad you did. And I'm glad everything you share, man, because I can listen to stories all day. I love, you know, great stories and people that's come before. You know how it is when we were younger, man. We always think, you know, we the first ones that did something. Then you start going back and, you know, researching. That's why I kind of fell in love with it. Just start looking at different things, man. So, you know, again, I appreciate you, man. Like, you know what I mean? And what you said, you know, about, you know, us as black men and what we need to do and continue to do, man, that means a lot. And I hope everybody that is still on here listening, that shares this, hear that, because that means a lot. And we got to uplift each other, keep positive people around you. And like you said, man, break those generational curses, because a lot of those people don't even know what they are, but they're generational curses. So man, I appreciate that, man.
And you know, we gotta and it's, again, I keep harping on it, but it's a great thing that you're doing, because you're like, for the cats, like for you, you know, you learned a lot, you know, from I'm sure talking to your dad, and I'm sure he shared a lot with you. But he didn't get to see our era, you know, I think, because he might have been
right.
In the service or whatever.
He was in them.
Yeah, so he missed it. I remember he came back. I remember one time we played together in a tournament. Chesapeake. Yeah,
I was there. Yeah.
We still had it, you know. Mind you, I might have been in my early 30s or whatever. So I know he like maybe 8, 9 years older than me. So
he was touching 40.
Yeah, he touched 40. Yeah, but he still had it. You know what I mean? He still had it.
Yeah, he said that jumper ain't going nowhere. He'll tell you that now.
So it was great that, you know, to play with him and play with somebody that I looked up to. And I knew, you know, that I seen him when, maybe not in his prime, in your high school, meaning in prime or whatever, but I seen him when, you know, he could really, really go. You know what I'm saying?
Right, right.
It was great to share the floor with him. And, you know, and, you know, but again, you're bridging the gap for a lot of people, because there's a lot of history. And that's the thing. You know, for people, the way people are dying today, and things are happening so fast. And a lot of times we don't get to hear those stories and get to know certain things, because there's no documentation of a lot of, you know, things that we've experienced. So if we could talk to them people and have them on a platform like this, which you have provided, these are things that could be passed on to, you know, people later on and say, yeah, this is what they did then, these years, you know, whatever. And take some jewels and some nuggets from all of them. You know, we talking sports, but we also talking life. You know, it's one thing, just real quick, before I go, I was sharing my daughter, she gets to go to high school, and she's in the gymnastics stuff, you know what I mean? But I would like her to play basketball, but I don't want to force her to do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I said, but sports does something that nothing else does. You know, I still have some of my best friends today from basketball. You know, like
Same here.
Know, Dwayne, you know, Dion, you know, Wayne, you know, all those guys, you know, and you know, it's about responsibility, you know, learning responsibility, teamwork, you know, not being selfish, you know, looking out for one another, you know, being on
discipline.
time, you know, discipline. There's so many intangibles and life lessons you learn through sports that you're you know,
so many.
So even more than just you know, the physical aspect of it, but the mental aspect of it, you know, preparation, being in tune mentally, physically. I mean, there's so many areas to it that you learn through sports. and then you get you could, and then if you happen to be blessed, you develop and have lifelong friends,
Yep.
through that, and I'm sure you have like
Yep.
Gary.
Yeah, a lot of us. Yeah, a lot of us, man.
Yeah, you got a whole crew, you know what I mean? You got a whole motley crew.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
then you develop that through sports, you know what I'm saying? Through kinship, having a same interest in, it's a beautiful thing, man. So I think, man, I think what you're doing and using this platform, a sports platform, but it's also a life platform too. So salute, you know what I mean?
Man, and that mean a lot, man, coming from you. Like, honestly, like stuff like messages like that, and things like that, man, that keeps me going, man. So trust me, that mean a lot to me. That mean a lot to me, man. So again, man, big up to you, man, again, and thanks for, I know you're a busy guy, man. So thanks for, finding some time to do this interview, and everybody enjoyed it. Lot of comments. I'm gonna have to go back and look. You have to go back and look when you get some time and try to comment on some stuff. But it was dope, man.
I didn't see, but what Hawk say? I want to hear. I want to know. What
he wasn't trying to hear that 98. He finally gave in, but he wasn't trying to hear it. But he laughed when you talked about the jumper being broke. He laughed real loud about that. So yeah, it was cool. But yeah, man, it's all good.
On the record, I'm gonna give it. And I think Coach Butler. Shout out to Coach Butler. I don't know if he was on the joint or not.
Coach on here.
Okay, yeah. I seen the comment he made earlier about that the championship team was 23-0, was the greatest Easton team, which 23-0, you win the states, you the greatest. You know what I mean? And then plus being the best starting five. Okay, I'm cool with that. And then Hawk said this, and Hawk said that.
Hawk said the depth. Yeah,
it's the 98 being the deepest, and I think he might play with that. I gotta give him that. I gotta give him that.
Yeah, I give him that. I give him that too. Man, but this has been a lot of fun, man. Hopefully we can get up, another time, and hopefully I, see you soon. I'm just like you, man. I lay low too and doing different things, man. So like I said, hopefully we'll cross paths sometime coming up soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. For sure. It's my pleasure, though. My pleasure.
All right. No doubt, man. That was all mine, man. Love is love, man. Definitely appreciate you, man. Salute you.
Salute.
All right. Appreciate you, man. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Real Sports Fan Podcast. We out of here. Peace.